Yo, what's poppin', everybody? Welcome back to the podcast, another episode of Caffeine and Green with your man, Connor Cardenas. And per usual, I want to make sure that you guys are heading to the shop. That's right, 3072 El Cajon Boulevard, based here in North Park, California. That's right, San Diego, baby. If you ever want to pull up, I'm here every single day. We are open Tuesday through Sunday and closed on Mondays for roasting. Guys, come through. You can get anything and everything for caffeine and green related. You can get any of our new coffees, the Todos los Dias, which is a single origin Colombia. We also have the Bendiciones. We have the Issa blend. We even have decaf. We have the El Cajon Boulevard, the single origin Ethiopia. Y'all, we have what you need. Hit me up or just come through for a latte or a cup of coffee or an espresso, whatever. Me and Lola are here, and we would love to see you guys. So like I said, 3072 El Cajon Boulevard. Pull up. All right. My guest today is my man, Gerardo Ledesma, the second of Provecho Coffee here in San Diego. My man straight up lives in Tijuana. He comes over here. He hustles. He does pop-ups, and he has such a humble beginning. It was super rad, and I just truly enjoyed our conversation. It was almost 3 hours, guys. This podcast is full of everything, and it's so fun, and it's, it's full of what we believe in. It's full of love. It's full of, the people who inspire us, and that is truly why the podcast is around. So he embodies that, and I am just so hyped to see my man Gerardo taking this journey to opening up his brand new spot at Bread and Salt, an art gallery here in San Diego. So guys, without further ado, my man Gerardo Ledesma the second. This your time to shine, homie. Let's go. Caffeine and green. It's your boy Connor. What's good? Caffeine and green. One, baby, and we're live. All right. Gerardo from Provecho Coffee.
How's it going, everybody?
Welcome to the Caffeine and Green, sir.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yes.
I was excited. Been looking forward to it.
Dude, me too.
Yeah.
Ever since you came, dude, it was so funny. Like, I'll tell a little story about how you came into the shop for the first time. You came in, oh, wow, it was probably like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, it was like a while ago.
Oh, wow. Dude, time has passed so fast.
It's
but I
flying
remember,
right now.
I don't even remember what it was, but somebody was talking about you. And I think we talked about this when you were here. Like, somebody was talking about you, and then I saw your Instagram, and I was like, damn, I should reach out to this dude. Because I don't know you, but some people have brought you up. And then I think I was coming back from getting milks or something like that. And I literally walked right by you, and I looked at you, and I was like, that dude looks familiar. And then as soon as you walked out of the shop, I turned around, and I was like, that's the dude from Provecho. And then so I turned around to get you, and I was like, yo. And then we ended up talking for like over an hour.
Yeah, it was great.
Dude, yeah. So cheers, bro.
Cheers,
Welcome
man.
to the show. Cheers.
Salud.
Fuck yeah. But yeah, dude, so I love how, like, we've already been talking for a little bit before the podcast.
Yeah.
How did I want to start this? Like, I really wanted to, like, touch base because you're about to start your own shop.
Yes, yeah.
So
We're
you're
opening a shop very soon.
Yeah, and can you talk about where it's going to be?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So where's it going to be?
We haven't really, and we've been like, it's all been word of mouth. We haven't announced it like on socials yet, but we're opening a cart inside of Bread and Salt, the art gallery in Logan Heights next to Mujeres Brewing.
Yep. So fucking sick.
We're super stoked. It's a blessing, like we got that spot. It's been awesome.
Dude, are you going to keep your cart in front of the bread mixer?
That's the plan.
Is that, dude?
Yeah, we're gonna build a new one. So we're in construction phase right now. So we're design construction, building a whole new cart out.
Dude,
it's gonna be super dope.
I fucking love that. You know, it's so funny, specifically about that. That's what it was. I saw your post.
Okay.
Dude, the day before your post, you posted something that was like, I think you maybe just had a table in front of the bread mixer.
Yeah.
I shit you not, dude. Like a day before, or maybe two. It wasn't even a week. A couple days before, I was there. My girlfriend Rahina was in town, and she loves art. And I was like, I wanted to surprise her, and I was like, I wanted to take her to like all these different like art galleries around San Diego. Yeah. And that one was like, I love the barrio, and I wanted to check that one out, especially because there's an artist named Apanka who does
Apanka's
a bunch.
Awesome.
Yeah, who does like, she has like a thing in the upstairs, and she has that whole side mural.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I really want to take Rahina there. So we go and we're like walking around and we end up, la-di-da, we're there for a while and get to like meet we see some homies there. And then she makes new friends. Like she just makes friends like so fucking easy.
Yeah.
And as we're leaving, she had like asked somebody like, oh, what is that? And they're like, oh, it's a bread mixer. And she's like, what? And like, she just looks at it and I'm looking at it. I'm like, dude, this thing is so fucking sick. Yeah. Fast forward, your post is like, big things coming soon or something like that. And it was in front of the bread mixer. And I commented like, that is, yes. Yeah. Like, I don't know what it is, but I think it was even like maybe a bag or your cold brew or something. And it was just like, for me, it got me hyped without even knowing who you are, but knowing that space and knowing that like a creative and a person who is trying to do something on your own in a creative space. Wow. Yeah. Like, love that. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So
thank you.
To see that and then to run into you, it was like, dude, I feel like I'm big on like the universe and people, come into your life for a reason.
Hello Santa all the time. Dude.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Asking stuff for the universe. Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
My wife and I are huge on that too.
Dude, it's real. It's fucking real. People might not believe it, but it's real.
Most definitely.
And so fast forward, we end up talking. We're having a good time, and that leads us to, setting up this time. And then like, again, before the podcast, we were talking about some other things, but I just want to kind of get into, how did you start?
Yeah.
Why did you start? And then, what made you want to basically take this next step?
Cool. So Provecho kind of started, I've been doing specialty coffee for almost 10 years now, working in different busy coffee shops all around San Diego. And I knew from the start when I worked at Starbucks that I wanted to open a shop and do my own coffee thing, but I didn't know how. So I went and worked for all the top shops that I thought were the best places to work in San Diego. And then fast forward to maybe like 6 years, probably like 4 or 5 years in, I met my wife. Well, she was my girlfriend at the time. And when we were starting how Provecho kind of came about, I was trying to figure out a concept. Like I was like, I want like a Mexican American coffee food concept. This was in my head. Like I want that, but I was like, what should I call it? How can I refine it? And when I met my wife, we went on dates in Tijuana and San Diego and LA, and she would always tell me Provecho before eating a meal or drinking. And at the time, my Spanish was not that fluent at all as it is now.
Yeah, and now you're fucking killing again.
I'm all right now.
Yeah, you're good. You're good though.
All right now. And she would always tell me Provecho. I'm like, hey, what does that mean? She's like, enjoy your food or your drink. And I'm like, in my head, I'm having like a freaking brain blast. And I'm like, I have to open a business called Provecho one day. I don't care what I have to do. I'm going to do that. Mm-hmm. And then from there, like the kind of idea was ingrained in my head that I have to open something called Provecho. And it made sense because like, honestly, the whole name and the whole brand is because of her. It's like based on passion, love, and like just cultivating a vibe and like a beautiful experience that someone will enjoy from start to finish. And during that time, I left specialty coffee because I felt like I hit the max that I could do. Like there wasn't any manager jobs. I couldn't get a roasting job. I was like, well, shit, I'm gonna go work in a kitchen. Because at that same time, my dad started getting sick, and I started taking care of him. And that means I would cook him meals and stuff. And I was like, I really liked it. I liked cooking, and I was like, this is harder than making coffee. And I was like, I kind of like this. And so I kept doing it. I got a job cooking as I took a prep cook job at a cafe, actually at Blvd a long time ago. And the manager at the time was like, why do you want to be a cook?
It's like almost like taking a step back, yeah?
Yeah, he looked at me. He's like, you have all this coffee experience, dude. Like, why don't you work on the bar with us? I'm like, no, I really want to cook. Please give me a chance. And he gave me a shot, and I moved up, and I became like interim sous when the sous chef left, and I was like doing orders, just holding it down, holding the breakfast and brunch down. And my dad would always tell me, he's like, oh, you should go to school for this. And I'm like, nah, I'll go work in the kitchen. Like, yeah, I'll go figure it out. And fast forward, maybe like 6 months, 8 months in, my dad got really sick in the hospital, and he eventually passed away. And I couldn't handle the pressure of the kitchen, and so I had to. In my head, it made sense. I should go back to something I like and that's comfortable with. And my friend was managing a shop. I needed a barista. I'm like, hey, like, can I come work for you? Like, I don't care the hours. Like, I just need something easy. And I went back to coffee. And I feel like every time I tried to get out of coffee to go cook again, I would get pulled back into coffee. So it's like the universe is telling me, hey, dude, you have to be here and you have to do this because it's what you're like meant to be, meant to do and meant to be almost. And so during that time, I was working I was doing coffee, and then fast forward a little bit longer, I was working in the nighttime, working a cooking job as a second job, and working at the cafe in the morning. And I kind of like at one point I was like, we should try to do like our own thing. And so during that time when I was working,
Yeah, there you go.
During that time when I was during that time when I was working in the cafe after I left the kitchen, one of my really good friends asked me, he's like, hey, G, I want you to cook a dinner for 12 people. And I'm like, dude, I've only been cooking for like 6-8 months. Like, no, like you're crazy. Yeah. He's like, come on. I'm like, I'll think about it. He's like, hey, I just want to let you know, like, these really big chefs are going to be there. Like Mike from Mostra Coffee was going to be there. Philip Esteban was going to be there. And I was like, I was like, hell no, I'm not gonna cook for those big chefs, dude. I'm like nothing compared to them. And he's like, come on, I know you can do it. And then so I talked to my wife, she was my girlfriend at the time, and I was like, do you want to cook this dinner with me? She's like, hell yeah. And so I remember we went and did this dinner, and like that's when we realized that like, okay, Provecho was born at that dinner. It was called Crafted. So they did these like catered experiences with 12 to 15 people, and they would have guest chefs every time, and everything was funded through like a marketing agency. It was super dope.
Wow.
And we were the first people to cook the dinner for that whole series. And at that moment, I was like, we should do something with this. And after that, I had my friend who was designing at the time, and she made me a little logo that said Provecho in cursive and calligraphy. And she... at the time, we set it up as Provecho Comida y Café. So it started as a food and coffee company. And then slowly after we started doing the food and coffee, it started getting too much, like the cooking and then doing coffee for dessert. So the whole like idea of Provecho Comida y Café is like we wanted to have a coffee shop that had a bomb food program because it was hard to find cafes that had good food and good coffee.
Are you saying comida y café or comida? Oh, okay.
It was comida y café, so it was food and coffee.
Okay,
coffee and food. Yeah.
I thought you were saying comida de café. I was like, that doesn't make sense.
No,
that's why I was like comida y café. I was like, okay, that's
yeah. So it was food and coffee.
Okay.
Yeah, and we were doing like pop-ups in like offices doing tacos. We were doing like ceviche pop-ups and caterings and doing like baby showers. It was going good. Like it wasn't bad for a small thing. Like for having little experience they did. And then it got to the point where one day my wife was like, why don't you try to just do coffee? And I was like, okay. And so we did this pop-up in Lafayette Hotel in Tijuana. It was on Revolucion. And I would get my haircut down there, and then they were like, hey, you should do a pop-up here since you know how to do coffee. And I was like, okay. And so one day we did a takeover, and it was the busiest takeover they had. And we had a 4 or 5 hour line. My wife and I were nonstop on a little quick meal, one group head machine that we had to fill the reservoir. Like it was, I don't know how we did it. It was insane, but it was kind of like the basis, like the drinks we have for our menu now is what we had at that time.
Whoa.
So they were good. People liked it. So we made it better now. But, I remember the manager of the hotel was like, hey, the owner said you guys can stay here the rest of the day. Like just keep selling. Like we're getting so many people in here. We love it. And I was like, cool.
Sick.
And then we ended up selling out like an hour later. And in Tijuana to make like $500, $500 in like a day is amazing off coffee.
Especially because there's so many people doing coffee down there.
Of course. Yeah. And like everything's in pesos, so it's a little cheaper. And I remember that when I did that event, I was working at Kova and they donated me all the coffee. So it was super awesome.
Wow. So like overhead is just,
it was like just, they were just like, go crazy, have fun. And they didn't ask me anything from the hotel. They just were like, just give us some coffee. I'm like, perfect. Butter. Keep the rest. I don't need it. And after that day, my wife and she was like, hey, like maybe we should keep going and like do the coffee thing. And I was like, cool, let's do it. And we ended up getting married a couple months later, and we took a break. She's like, hey, let's take a break. Like I wanted to take a break too and like focus on just us, like my relationship, my new marriage. And after that year is when sorry, I'm going like mix up right now.
No, you're fine.
That pop up that we did in the hotel in Tijuana happened after our year break.
Oh.
So after we got married, we took a year break off, and then we got invited to that gig at the hotel, and that's when like she's like, "Hey, please do this."
Yeah,
you love
you're
it.
doing
like,
something
yeah.
cool. Yeah.
But before that, our first pop up, we like after the dinner with coffee was at Whiskey Locker.
Whiskey Locker.
It used to be like my friend Dell. She had a spot here on North Park Way where Love Song is.
Oh wow. Okay.
Like a little bit more down. It's like a wedding shop now, next to the Eagle Bar. Excuse me. And they were having a podcast with Philip Esteban, and my friend Alyssa. She owns this company called Future and Past.
Okay.
They do like photography and video. They were doing like a podcast on like mental health and like the culinary industry. And it's super cool. And they were like, "Hey, just come do coffee for us. Like, we don't know, charge whatever you want." And I remember I got off a plane from Mexico City the night before, and I had some coffee that I bought over there, and I was like, "All right, cool, I'll be there." And I went, and we didn't know what we were doing. I was like, "Is this okay? Should I do this? Should I do that?" And we just did it. And that's kind of when we kind of like got the movement going. And then we were, after that, like probably 6 months after we got married, and then we took a break, and then we did the pop-up in the hotel. And then after the hotel pop-up, we kept doing the events, and then COVID happened. And when COVID happened, I was like, "Oh man, like what are we gonna do? We can't do pop-ups. Like I guess we should just scrap it and like take a break." We all didn't know what to do. Like it was kind of like
Everybody,
no man's land. Like what's going on? And I remember I woke up one morning and I told my wife, I'm like, "Should I sell cold brew out of my car? Should I just go to all the coffee shops are closed? Should I just sell cold brew?" She's like, "Yeah, try it." And I put a post on Instagram like, "Hey, I'm selling horchata cold brew. I'm selling Jamaica lemonade. I'm selling cold brew, like $12. Like, hit me up if you want it, and I'll deliver it to your house." And
wait, what was the Jamaica?
Jamaica limonada.
Dude.
So I was doing like lemonade with Jamaica. I was doing horchata with cold brew. I was doing cold brew, and like I remember I would have like 24, 36 bottles in my car, like just driving all around San Diego, La Mesa, El Cajon, wherever. And I remember that summer I made like over $5,000 selling cold brew.
Stop it.
Like just during COVID, and I was like, okay, maybe I'm onto something. And then slowly after COVID started kind of coming to like things started opening again. That's when it kind of slowed down, and I was like, okay, maybe now I still kept it up, kept the movement going, and then shortly after that, we decided to start roasting our own coffee. And it was probably like we went to the Collective place in San Marcos first, and my friend had a free space in Tijuana in an old house he had, and we gutted it out. He was like, "Dude, you can just..." Sorry, I'm going all over the place.
Don't apologize, dude. You're good. You're good. You're good.
There's so many things like that happen, and I'm trying to recollect everything. He was like, "Hey, dude, like, why are we gonna pay all this money, drive from South Bay, just to use a roaster for an hour?"
Yeah, because you're driving deep. Yeah, like you're driving. So are you living in Tijuana at this point?
Yeah, we were.
So you're going from Tijuana to
we
San Marcos?
We were going to Tijuana to San Marcos.
Stop
it didn't make sense for us, right? So we were like,
"No, dude, it's hard for me to drive from North Park to there.
Yeah.
Like you're driving to Tijuana. That's another half-hour drive, bro."
Exactly. So it was like my friend was like, "Dude, no, let's not do this." He's like, "We can use the house I have down there. We'll gut the kitchen out and we'll put the roaster in." And I'm like,
fucking love
"Cool,
Mexico.
we can, yeah." But right before he told me that, I was talking to him about it. I'm like, "Hey, my wife said we should buy a roaster and like just go for it."
Yeah.
But I'm scared. I don't know. I was like, I don't know. And like, we ended up going there, and like we didn't work out. We were like, "No, it's gonna be too expensive." Like we were like, "No, it's gonna be too much startup for us." Like we didn't have that much money, and so I remember I got a stimulus check, and I put the down payment on the roaster with that.
What kind of roaster
We bought this one from Veracruz from a company called Caffeine. So my wife handled all the logistics for me.
What a G.
She is like the reason why we started roasting coffee. Like she pushed me to do it. But the funny thing is, the same time when we ordered the roaster, I left my job at Kova and I got a job with Dan at Traveler to be his production roaster.
What?
Yeah. So
yo, shout out to Dan.
Yeah, Dan's awesome. He's amazing. We actually roast our coffee there still. So I rent his roaster out and he lets me roast coffee there. He's awesome.
What a fucking legend.
He's so cool. I have so much respect and love for that guy. He's been.
So you're roasting on the 5 kilo.
Diedrich, yeah. So
we talked about this.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I remember us talking about it, but I guess it didn't click till just now that you are still roasting there.
Yeah. It's great.
Let's talk about that offline.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what's it called? We had I was roasting there for like 6 months, maybe almost 8 months, and then I was like, yo, I'm gonna get a different job, and I went back to work on a coffee bar. I was working at Blue Bottle for a little bit. My friend needed a barista, and I was like, hey, like, I'll apply, and end up working at Blue Bottle for a while, and then during my time at Blue Bottle, I was working like 4 days a week, and I was doing Provecho roasting and pop-ups at the same time. So I was like working 12-hour days with a regular job.
So much respect, G.
And it was like, thank you. It was,
Yeah,
it
like
was a
I
lot.
love to hear this.
But I didn't feel like it was a lot. Like a lot of people telling, my friend was telling me just now, he's like, dude, I see your eyes sometimes. I'm like, this dude's tired. And I'm like, but I don't feel like tired yet.
Just wait till you open the shop.
I know. I
Just
think
wait till you open the
of
shop,
those
bro.
days, and I know it's gonna get there. But
you're ready.
I'm ready. I'm like physically ready. I'm healthy. I'm ready to like get the grind going even more.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. So I was roasting there, and then I left to go work at Blue Bottle. And I remember the day I got the job with Dan, I got my roaster from Tijuana, like it got delivered. And so we were roasting in Tijuana on we were doing like, it was like a 2 kilo machine. And we got a wholesale account the next month in Phoenix, and we had we're doing.
I was wondering how you got out there. Because I saw that on your Instagram. I was
Yeah.
like, what the fuck? How you get
that
out
was
there?
like a loophole. Like it was a really not loophole, but like a hole of connections. Like when I worked at Craft and Commerce, I worked at a lot of places.
I was gonna say, what the
I
fuck?
have a long resume, but my friend Phil, he was the chef at Craft and Commerce for a little bit, and he put a post on Instagram. He's like, hey, I need help, and I was like, yo, dude, can I work for you? He's like, yeah, you want to start tomorrow? I'm like, sure.
Butter.
And so I went there, and I was working there, and I was working at another cafe and doing doubles. And I'm crazy.
Dude,
like
I love you, bro.
I'll work a lot. Like,
yes.
But I'll work until I can't, like till my back breaks, and I'll keep going because just to get the vision I want.
Like a true Mexican, baby. We're the hardest workers, no cap. Like that's what it is, G. Yo, do you need another beer?
Yeah, I'm actually.
Dude, yeah, grab one of those.
You want another one?
Let me see.
What are you feeling?
Just grab you grabbed the Pilsner already, so
try
grab
that
the
as
other
well.
one. Grab the other one. I'll grab the Pilsner. Yeah. Gracias. All right.
Cheers.
Cheers, brother. I'll fucking cheers you with this one because I'm already. Boom, done. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off,
No,
but
you're good.
I just see you over. I'm like, it's empty. Like, yo, my man needs another beer.
Thank you for the hospitality.
But dude, yes, like, you're fucking. I'm loving this, bro.
It's been a grind. Like I've always worked a lot. Like my first job was at a Del Taco working graveyard because they offered it to me. They're like, hey, you'll make right out of high school. They're like, hey, you'll make like time and a half, so that's like $16 an hour. And I'm like, hell yeah. I was like, yeah. I was like, what's minimum wage? Like $7.50. I'm like, hell yeah, I'll do that.
Dude.
So I would work the graveyards there, and I remember getting like these big checks as like a kid, and I'm like, this is insane.
Yeah.
I wish I saved more money at the time. We didn't.
We all do.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, you're good.
So you get your roaster from TJ. You're working the doubles. You're working at Craft and Commerce.
The roaster came after Craft and Commerce and after Kova.
Okay.
But the connection to Phoenix, to my, it's called Valentine. They sell their coffee.
Okay.
The owner Chadwick's amazing. Shout out to Chadwick and his team.
Yo, shout out,
They're awesome. Yeah. But ever since we started roasting, my friend was like, hey, like, I just started working. So the guy who worked at False Idol, his name's Aiden. He was like the bar back, and he would always come through the kitchen and like say what's up to us and like give us a drink or something. And I remember he's just a cool dude, skater dude, super dope. And he messaged me on Instagram. He's like, hey, dude, I'm working at this really cool place in Phoenix. Like, I think he'd be down to try your coffee from Mexico. Excuse me. And I was like, yeah, I'll send samples tomorrow. I sent samples out. They messaged me a month later. He's like, hey, I'm sorry. Like, I was out of town for a month. I'd love to have your coffee if you're still open to it. I'm like, yes.
Fuck yeah.
Yes, yeah. And my buddy and I started roasting in Tijuana. The wholesale orders, and they were like 150 pounds, almost 200-pound orders.
What?
And we were roasting but he'd be like, oh, can you ship it like ASAP? I'm like, I can ship it to you on Friday if you send me your order on Monday.
Yeah, it's like,
So
dude, you're going to roast all week.
We were roasting all week, so we would take like 3 or 4 roasting days, and then we would cross it over.
It's the two. So you're doing.
We're doing 4
It was a
batches.
2 kilo.
Yeah, we're doing 4-pound batches.
Wow.
Yeah, we just had a bunch of buckets, a lot of fans, and
What's your weight loss on the 4 pounds? It's like,
It
what,
was like
14 to 16%?
Yeah, like 14, 15. We would get like 3.5 pounds each batch. So if they wanted 22 bulk bags, it would take us a lot of
Is that a pre-blend or is that
it was
like
all
a
single origin. They would order only
Wow.
single origin. And yeah, it was my friend and I just cranked it. I was like, all right, you do this, I'll do the naturals. Like, we'll take turns, and we would just take turns. Like one day he'd start, and then like I'd come in the afternoon and finish the rest, and then we'd do vice versa. And it was cool because it was during COVID, so we didn't really have like a normal job, so we were able to have that.
Yeah, you were able to maneuver.
Yeah. And then it got to the point where we were doing too much volume, and I'm like, I can't roast on this anymore.
Yeah.
That happened. We started roasting in 2021. Yeah, wow, it's almost been 2 years now.
Dude, yeah. It fucking goes by in a blink,
That's
bro.
insane. We started roasting in April 2021, and we started selling coffee in June-ish, around June. And once we got labels and all the branding done. And that's kind of how Provecho Coffee Co came about, because we had Provecho Comida Café, and I met this awesome designer. His name's Omar. He works with a group in Tijuana. They do this world famous Super Dudes. They do this really cool burger like food truck, and we went to meet him one day at a pop because my friend was cooking, and I was like, I'm gonna bring him cold brew because they looked busy. Like they had like 3-hour line for burgers in Tijuana. It was insane. They were like smash burgers with like special sauce, super bomb, and the branding, I gotta send it to you. It's so dope. I met him. We were waiting in line. I was telling him that we have a coffee company. He's like, dude, like if you ever need to do branding, let me know. Like I love your story. Like I want to like work with you. A month later, like I was like, hey, dude, like I don't know if you're down, but my wife was thinking of doing a rebrand for the company, and I think we should move forward with it. And we sat and talked with him for like 2 hours about like the new logo and everything. And my wife was like, why don't you just make the logo you? Because you always wear a beanie.
Beanie, yeah.
And I'm like, okay. And so we went with that, and that's how kind of Provecho Coffee Co came about. And it was perfect timing, everything. Like everything just was seamless. Like the labels came through, like the branding was done right when we started getting good at roasting with our roaster that we had. And I wouldn't say good. I think like back then it was work in progress.
Hey, whatever's working, bro. Yeah. It's buttery now, so that's all that matters.
We made it work. It was wild, man. Like getting that first, like figuring out like this roaster we had. So the Caffeine roaster, it's similar to a San Franciscan from what I think of or what I know of San Franciscans. All you control is a flame knob for gas.
No, there's no dampers for air?
There's airflow, but it's not that good.
Ah.
So it was very like subtle. Like the airflow wouldn't change that much.
Yeah.
So we'd have to make drastic changes, like do 75 or 100% airflow.
But that's like also like what it's like on the SF6. I mean,
similar,
dude,
right?
there's no fucking air like you can really adjust on an SF6.
Yeah,
it's just
gas.
open.
Yeah.
It's open, or you change the damper like a little bit, but it's mainly just flame control.
Yeah.
Because it's too small.
Yeah.
You know, but when you get up to like anything above a 5 kilo, a 5 kilo even is like on the Dietrich.
Yeah.
3 settings.
Yeah.
That's all you got.
Yeah.
I mean, and this goes to like, I mean, and sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
No,
but
you're
like,
good.
We're talking about air real quick.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. No, it's important.
I mean, like with Scott Rao or like somebody who like you hear Scott Rao, he just like shits on Dietrichs, right? But then you hear some other people who are like live and die by Dietrichs, and it's like all you need is those 3 settings.
Yep.
And I've done both, and I mean, I like the San Franciscans, but that is where more of the science is, because you have to. They give you a fucking air control from 0 to 100, but really you live between 40 and 60.
Yep.
So it's like, you know, and then you have the top damper. It's like, you know, like, but then it's you have to know more of the roast aside from the flame. But if you're working on something smaller or a Dietrich, it kind of goes against all of that. And it's like, do you really need that much air? Because it's more about the flame control and how you're manipulating the beans. And is it a single barrel drum? Is it a double barrel drum?
Yep.
There's
so many variables.
Yeah, there's so many variables. Is it cold outside? Is it hot outside?
Yep.
You know, it's like, are the beans expanding? Are they contracting? It's oh my God.
For us, it was, no, you're good. For us, it was a lot of variables that we didn't know. And Yashua, who's our roaster, who's been roasting with me, he's like a production master. Like I'll be like, hey dude, we need to do 200 pounds. I got you, G.
Yeah.
Sweet. He was roasting with me, and he's like, hey dude, maybe we should try. He was the one that approached me with the variables and was like, I know you took this cool class and like, you know a little more than me, but like, let's do this instead of this. I'm like, cool. And it worked. Like if the gas tank, we were using gas tanks, so we were getting minas from like
Is that
the
the
gas in
propane?
Tijuana.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
we were
yeah,
just like
yeah.
plugging it in and going at it. And like if the gas was too low, the flame would mess up and the roast would be messed up. And
Would you have to put it on a full?
sometimes we would have to like kind of crank it depending on the bean. Like we have a coffee from Oaxaca and it's super dense. We would have to like blast it with heat to get it.
Is it more dense because of the meters above sea level? Like we're
Yeah.
talking like 15 plus?
No, we're talking like 21,000.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
So it's like an Ethiopian.
It tastes like an Ethiopian.
Ay, Dios
I
mío.
swear.
Okay.
I swear it tastes like an Ethiopian. And the naturals are, it's like, don't even get me started on that.
Fuego.
It's- Yeah. I gotta bring you some next time we get some.
Okay,
It's so
okay.
good. But yeah, we had, when we started, we were getting like Veracruz coffees from like lower coffees just to start off and practice and learn. And we had to install a thermal coupling into the viewer, and like we had a
So
little
sick.
thermometer, and we were just looking at thermometer and writing notes.
Or did you do your thermocouple? Was it right next to the trier, or did you do it on the outside?
We did
So
it. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say, or is it like more of like, because you've been to the roastery.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, just for people who don't know on roasting.
Yeah.
If this is for the non-coffee
Mhm.
nerds, like you usually when you see a roaster, they'll have two thermocouples. There'll
Yep.
be a thermocouple like closer to just what the
Like the
just
top
the
of the
drum.
drum?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the top of the drum, and then one right next to the trier.
Yep.
And although nobody really knows the temperature that's going on, you have those two different settings because it's the environmental temp and then the bean temp.
Yep.
So you can kind of get a
Exactly.
better gauge. So where did you put your? Because you only put one.
We couldn't fit two.
Okay.
We tried because the thermometer it came with was just like this like small one that like would barely hit the beans, and so we noticed like it was giving us the drum temp, like the top one,
Okay.
and so we got this little one that we had to put in the viewing window.
In the window?
We had to put in the viewing window,
Whoa.
and it was super short. It was like probably less than 2 inches. Like
How thick?
it was a pretty thick one.
Oh.
It was a thick boy, but it fit perfectly.
Okay.
And we got the little thermometer, and we were like, "Dope, let's do it." And our roasts were coming out consistent at the time.
Yeah.
And our thermometer, I was just talking to someone about this, like our flame meter, like for the gas meter,
Yeah.
we had to mark on it high, medium high, low, off. Like we had to draw with a Sharpie. Like the bigger the Sharpie line was, like what temp it is. Like it was really cool, and we had to like gauge it. Like my friend Luis from Electric Coffee, he started with the same roaster, and I went and met with him one day, and he was telling me, he's like, yeah, never let the flame get yellow. Make sure it's always bluish purple.
Oh, dude, that would fuck me up. I'm so colorblind.
Yeah, I am too. I can't see certain shades of blue and purple.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Yo,
You know,
yo
yeah.
también.
Dude, you know that test in school they give you where you have to see the
Yeah,
dots?
dude, I failed.
Yeah,
super hard.
I remember in 5th grade they were like, all right, everybody, look at if you see a number 5, you're good. I'm like, I see number 5, cool. Like, all right, number 1, I see number 1. And like, all right, if you see the pirate ship, you're not colorblind. And I'm like, I was the only one in class. I'm like, Miss, I don't see the boat. And she's like, she went up to me and she's like, I'm so sorry. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, it looks like a bunch of dots. Why are you
Dude,
sorry? And
That's me every day of my life, bro.
Yep. It messes me up so much sometimes. When it's dark and like I'm roasting, I have to ask somebody to look at it. I'm like, can you look at this coffee?
Yeah.
Like my friend, I would have to tell him like, hey, Joshua, can you look at this? Because I can't tell if it's uniform. I can't tell if I couldn't see the color sometimes. It's bad.
Dude,
yeah,
same.
I feel you there, dude. It's
So
a struggle.
sorry.
Yeah.
No. Mine's red, green, blue, and purple.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mine are the like neons, like
Wow.
light yellows, oranges. Sometimes
Wow,
like
really?
pink.
Really?
Purple and blue. Like purple and blue. My favorite color is navy blue.
Okay.
And so like I can't. Sometimes I mix it up with purple.
Yeah, same.
It's so hard.
Yeah.
It's a struggle. But
If it's like depending on the shade of the color, I can kind of see it.
yeah.
But I've kind of trained my mind like, oh, if I can't see it too well, I'm like, oh, I know that's like that color.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. It's crazy. Like the whole color stuff.
Anyway, sorry.
No, you're good. I was talking about the roaster, the Caffeine. Yeah, we were roasting on that for probably like less than 6 months when I realized we had to switch to a bigger roaster.
How long does it take you to do 200 pounds on Dan's roaster?
Probably like
8 hours.
no less. I can do 10-pound batches there on that Diedrich, so I can do like 40 pounds ish, 35 to 40 pounds an hour. Takes like 3 to 4 hours. You throw in bagging, it's probably like going to be like 6, maybe 7 at most. The longest day I was there was like 8 hours.
Dude, because I did last night. I roasted 11 batches, all of them 20 pounds,
How long did it take you?
4 hours
Oh, that's great.
to roast.
That's amazing.
But that's what I'm saying. Like 4 hours for you, like that. Like I was like, my math must be off right now.
I also crank though. Like I'll gas drop and then I'll get like where it's almost to the charge temp I want to do, and then I'll let it stabilize, and then I'll drop it again. So I can have like a roast I don't have to wait 5 minutes to roast again. I try to wait like 2 to 3 minutes.
Oh, so you're just cranking.
I crank, but it's mostly when I do my like espresso blend. And like the coffees I use are dense, so like I need the heat.
Yeah, you need it to be built.
So I'm cranking, but I also roast very differently. My producer in Oaxaca told me that it could mess my coffee, like it could mess my roasting process. But my style is I gas drop until turning point. I don't put any gas until turning point. Once I see the
That's normal though.
Yeah, I see sometimes it's 2 minutes.
But do you do charge? So you're charging it.
Yeah.
That's what you mean. Sorry, I know we like roasters. We use different terminology.
I charge it to like usually 385, 400, depending on the coffee.
Do you roast based on drop temps, or do you roast based on like just what you know, like your method? Because like I always do I do a soak, right?
Yeah.
So you do a soak. I wait till 1 minute, and then I don't even wait till turning point. It's like whatever that 1 minute is, turn it up, and then once you turn it up. And then I wait, and then depending on the coffee, it'll be like maybe sometimes 1 minute, maybe times like 2 minutes, 20 seconds, and I'll like change the flame. And then it's like maybe sometimes depending if it's like a washed Colombian, maybe like I'll do an adjustment at 1 and then adjustment at 2, and then I'll do it again until 280.
Yeah. I try to roast most of my coffees similar.
Okay.
Like I've learned, at least for my style and the coffees I get, if one coffee always tastes the same at a certain temperature, like for example, I use drops in 415 a lot.
Okay.
Like that's a light roast for me. Like
at 415 finish temp?
Yeah.
Okay. So you are doing it on temps.
I do.
Not really based on time.
I don't worry about time. Like I try not to. Like as long as my development times are the same, because sometimes it's cold and sometimes it's really hot, like you were saying, and like sometimes like the one day I had a roast that was like 16 minutes long. Yeah. And the coffee came out fine, and then the next roast was 12 minutes. And I was trying to think, I'm like, okay, I did something wrong, or the temperature. Yeah. But then I don't really know what's going on.
Yeah, nobody really does, right?
And it's like that weird like thing, and I'm like, oh, like.
So are you talking about like post crack development, like from first crack on?
Yes.
You stay to that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so do I.
Because that's what makes the big difference. Also, I pay attention to mild reaction. Like if my mild reaction is the same every time, it should be okay. Okay. I know like the first or the first and between the first and the third roast, they're weird. On the first time on the roaster, at least when I'm like the first one's gonna be really weird. Like it could be like 60 minutes, it could be 12 minutes. It just depends. Yeah. And sometimes even like if I like switch the coffee, it's gonna change too. And it's like it's a weird science.
Dude, it's fucking rad.
I'm still trying to understand it, and I love it. It's so like complex and
you've only been doing it for 2 years.
Yeah, and I really like it.
Yeah.
And it's I taught my best friend to do it, and I honestly think he's a better roaster than me.
That's wild, dude. That's so wild that for some people you can just teach them and they take off.
He just clicked. Boom. He was like, one of my really good friends I worked with on a coffee bar told me, he's like, someone that he worked with at Coffee and Tea told him, he's like, if you want to roast coffee, he's like, roasting coffee is like sitting in front of a dryer at a laundromat for 6 hours. He told me he's like, if you want to roast coffee, ask the person if they like drying clothes. That's what he told me. And I was like, oh, it's kind of funny, but it was it's kind of almost similar. It's a little more laborious.
Dude, definitely more laborious and more like
pay way more attention to everything.
You have to, right? I mean, but like, dude, it's last night I was having the same problems. Like I tend to start questioning dude, I've been in this game for almost 10 years and I literally still find myself like, what the fuck is going on? Like, why is this doing this? Why is this? But then I'm finding it in the development, or my weight loss will be the same. It's like, okay, my development post crack wasn't the same. It was like I'm reaching for 20, but it was like 17.7 development. Yeah. But then I had more weight loss, or like it was just at the point. Maybe I was looking for like a 16% weight loss, but I had like a 15.5%. I'm like, that's close. But definitely had more weight loss than I thought I was going to have based on the time and based on the development. Yeah. So it's like, but then you taste it and it's like, it's fine. Yeah. It's like, what the fuck? Like, what was it? It's
And
like it had to have been the wind last night because it was so cold, you know, or
Exactly.
something.
Yeah, and I always think I'm like, is someone gonna be able to tell me like, and taste it like this is what happened in the roast? And I'm like, I don't know. It's
But that definitely can.
yeah,
Dude,
it's-
I mean, I've had consulting jobs where I've had roasters come in.
yeah,
Isaac from Traveler.
yeah.
I've had Isaac come in here and I've tried his coffees and I'm like, okay, there's something wrong here.
Yeah.
I can taste that like it's flat, or
Yeah.
this is good on the start, but in the middle it gets kind of whatever,
it's
and
dry
then,
or
something.
Yeah.
And that's also comes with time. I mean, your development of your palate will
Mhm.
happen, and then like your palate for as a roaster compared to your palate as like a barista is very much different because
Yeah.
you're more familiar with the process and
Yep.
what you're trying to taste. And then it's like, do you have a coffee shop? Do you know how to pull it as espresso? Because
Yep.
then you have to try it then.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
It's a lot.
so
dude.
many factors.
It's the coffee is like one of the most complex things, but it's also could be the most simple thing.
It's also the most like gratifying thing because when you
Yeah.
have like a black cup of coffee, bro, in
it's-
the morning,
it's the best. Yeah. When you get to make a pour over in the morning for yourself, that's when I know like I have time and today's gonna be a calm day.
bro,
Ish.
like the pour overs, I used to be about that, but
Yeah.
now I'm like, dude, just a batch coffee.
I love batch brew. I'm pro batch
brew.
brew. So many customers I've had throughout the years are like, "What's your favorite brewing method?" I'm like, Blvd dripper, like
Yes.
Black and Decker drip coffee machine. It tastes delicious.
Bro, during the pandemic,
Yeah.
right before like when the shit was about to hit the fan, we're like people are freaking out,
Yep.
TP's running out,
Yep.
whatever. I was working at a shop in South Park, and the Target in South Park is right there.
Yeah,
So dude, every day I would go during my break and just buy one thing because everybody's freaking out. But I would buy like a case of water one day, and then I'd buy another case of water.
Yeah.
And I was getting ready because they're like, yo, we might be shutting down. One of the days I went there, I went over to Target and I bought a fucking Mr. Coffee
Yep.
for my fucking little apartment room.
yeah.
And dude, I started making coffee every morning. Like when we shut down,
Yeah.
I was in my room. And dude, shout out to my homie John. I haven't seen John in a minute, but John was working at Bird Rock on Morena Boulevard, and I was living behind USD.
John, I might know him.
Big ass beard.
I
He's
worked with him
Manny's
at
homie.
Westpin. I love that guy.
Dude, yeah, John is the
John,
homie.
He's
I don't know his last name, but he is
Uh,
just the fucking G.
Gutierrez, I think.
Is it
I
Gutierrez?
think so.
Dude,
I love that guy. He's hilarious, dude.
Dude, that motherfucker, bro. He
he
fucking
knows a lot
brought
about
me.
coffee, dude.
He brought me an 8-ounce bag of geisha that
Yeah.
was like close to $100 from Bird Rock
Yeah,
for free.
Yeah.
And then he brought me like some Bird Rock like blend,
yeah.
and I was making the geisha on a Mr. Coffee with my like little mug that I had, and
Yeah.
I was in my room like working out, making my coffees, drinking my water, doing my thing, like staying in my room because
Yeah.
like the world's gonna end, kind of thing. And I was so pleased with
Yep.
batch. I mean, like I've always loved batch, but like that from that point on, dude, like I love pour overs.
Mhm.
They're clean, they're nice, they're crisp,
Yep.
but just a solid black cup of coffee for batch, stop it.
Yep.
Stop it.
Yep.
In hard times, bro, like I was just talking about this today. My homie's like my clientele amount of people who are coming into the shop every day are still going up, but cheaper drinks are being what's purchased.
Mm-hmm.
So like the sales might not be there, but the quality of the guest or the guests that are coming in are going up, but they're buying batch brew.
That's great.
And to me, I get off on that.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I
dude,
love when
you
people
know what
order
I'm
batch. I'm
saying?
like, and you don't want cream in it? I'm like, ooh. this-
Because your
that's
coffee's
weird.
bomb,
I was
yo.
like, oh, okay. Yeah.
Yep.
I always
Sorry.
tell people, I'm like, try it, and then I'll put milk in it.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to judge you.
Dude, I give out
yeah.
samples now.
Yeah.
I have I have these like little espresso cups that I got from Guadalajara,
Perfect.
and I just be like, here, try this.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, oh wow.
Yeah.
Like okay.
Yeah.
Like yeah. Like fuck.
I love doing that too. My favorite thing is, I always do this. It's ever since I started working in coffee, I would take a cappuccino cup from the machine or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd open the hopper and I'd give the customer a cup of beans. I'm like, please go try this,
What?
and they would come back and buy it back. I do it at my pop-ups. I've been doing it forever. I'm like, oh,
Just
you really
give
like
them coffee.
I just give them a little cup of it. Like what am I gonna lose? Like 50 cents? They're gonna come back and buy a bag, and they do. And I remember like I'm like, I've always thought about like how can I make my coffee experience better? Like besides, and I'm like, I'll talk like say someone gets an espresso and I'm talking to them for like 30 minutes because it's chill, and I'm talking to them about coffee, and I'm like, you should take this and try. How do you make your coffee at home? Oh, I have a little like Sometimes they'll tell me something crazy like, "Oh, I have a mini at home," or like, "Oh, I have like a V60 or AeroPress." I'm like, "Cool, go take this home and try it."
Yeah.
And if you want me to grind it, I'll grind it for you. Like I don't care. And I just remember like I've met so many people and made friends that way. So I'm like, "Here, take this coffee and try it." Like,
It's no skin on my back. What is it?
like,
Yeah.
if the owner tells me something, I'll tell him, "Hey, I'm trying to sell coffee." Like,
Yeah, 100.
yeah, and yeah, it's really crazy. Like, coffee has been a monumental part of my life. I met my wife through coffee. I met some of my best friends through coffee. Some of my like lifelong friends, like, well, not lifelong, but like long-time friends I've had were like my regulars. One of them specifically, my friend Jarrell. Shout out to Jarrell. He's awesome. Was my regular at Westbean when I was like 19, and he'd always come back he would always have the coolest haircuts, super slick back hair. And I remember one day he came in and his hair was messed up, and I'm like, "Bro, what's up with your hair?" And he's like, "Oh shit, I forgot to comb my hair." He's like, "Dude, I'm running late." I'm like, "I got you." And I went to the back and I gave him some of my pomade.
Stop it. Yo.
And then we became homies, and he's like, and like now he has a gaji at home. He has a niche. He makes his own espresso at home. Like,
that's tight.
And it's been cool because like he started from salted caramel latte like almost 10 years ago, and now he's like espresso at home.
Yep.
It's super cool. Like that's one of my favorite things, like that transition to like getting people like to try the coffee.
Yeah.
I love it. I love that stuff. But
that's fucking dope, bro.
It's super cool. Yeah, dude, it was I love coffee, man.
Dude, I fucking love coffee. Sorry, let's get back to something. We totally solely tangent.
No, it's good. I love it. And as we talked about a lot of scientific stuff, which is great for listeners and like for coffee people. Like I'm all about it.
Well, for the people who aren't coffee, let's get back to your story. Like, sorry, I totally.
You're good, man.
Okay, so when we left off, you roasting. You move over to Dan's. You're figuring it out. So you're still at Dan's right now?
I roast there now. Yeah.
Okay.
I roast with him still. I'd love to try the new place they're opening in National City with Marco. Marco's a good friend of mine too.
Yeah, Marco was just on the show.
He's awesome. Yeah.
Dude, shout out to Marco.
Yeah, shout out to Marco. That guy's.
I fucking love Marco,
Marco's
man.
Awesome.
Marco is such a good guy. For real.
It was so funny because when I worked at Westbean, I helped him open the Liberty Station shop.
Did you really?
Yeah, I was one of the me and John and Manny were there.
What?
Me, John, and Manny all three of us were working that place. It was so fun. It was like
one
of my like fondest memories in my mind and my life, like, is working with John and Manny at that shop. We had so much fun. It was so fun. And we had so many funny pictures of all of us like messing around there. But we had remember when I was trying to get back to the downtown spot because I liked the downtown shop better than the Liberty Station one. And Marco at the time was working at Starbucks, and I think he was trying to get a job there. And right when Marco started at Liberty Station, I went to downtown.
Oh, wow.
And so like we kind of crossed paths, but we weren't like super tight until like later on.
Wow, dude.
It was super cool. A lot of like
small world, bro.
Super small. We all know each other.
And now everybody's doing their own thing.
Yep. It's amazing.
It's so fucking rad, dude.
It's beautiful, man. Seeing everybody grow and just grind it out, and that's how it should be.
I mean, fucking A.
And there's some people that I know that's working in coffee for a long time, and they left and they're doing something else and they're killing it in that.
Yeah.
It's awesome. It's awesome to see.
Dude.
But yeah, I was roasting with Dan, and I've been roasting with Dan, probably like renting his roaster for maybe like almost maybe a year.
Do you do one day? Just one? Or do you do 2 days?
It depends how much I have to roast and how many pop-ups I have. In a normal pop-up we have, I go through probably like 4 to 10 pounds of coffee.
Okay.
Of espresso. And that's insane for a pop-up event. Like, that's a lot of coffee.
That's a lot.
That includes sometimes like 3 gallons of cold brew, maybe like. But yeah, it's a lot. We just got another grinder for the event, so I've been doing like single origin espresso. I have so much fun with that.
Really?
Yeah, people love it. I had the natural that I brought you on espresso.
Yeah.
It's funky.
In like a complex way? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I want to change the roast more so it's a little more like espresso-ish. It's not like, it's great as a pour over. But I don't know how I feel about it as an espresso.
Espresso definitely, it's like, one thing, I don't remember who told me. I'm sorry if you're listening to this and you're the one who told me, but I remember somebody along my coffee journeys told me that espresso is a magnifying glass. Whether it's good, whether it's bad, whether it's acidic,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's over roasted, whatever.
Yeah.
You put it into espresso, and all of those things.
Come out.
Yep.
Yep.
100%.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And that is just you can't do anything about it,
Yeah.
right? So that's what it is. That's just what it is. And sometimes some coffees that are like super acidic end up being amplified, and they're like over acidic once they're on espresso. That's why like I helped at a coffee shop that's here in North Park now. When they opened, I did a consulting job for them, and I tried their espresso, and I legit took a sip, and I was like,
Yeah, sometimes
bro,
that happens to me too.
I like literally like I felt it in the back of my throat, and it gave me like a zing in my head, like a headache. And I was like, bro, you need to cut this.
Yeah.
Like you need like something like a Guatemala that's heavy in chocolate,
Yeah.
or you need like a Brazil or something to like balance or at least cut that acidity. And he's like, why? And I was like, dude, I the way I said it, I was like, this is overpowering and it's not pleasant. And he laughed. He's like, okay, cool. And I was like, that's not a good thing, my G.
Yeah.
And I was like, he's like, no, I want it to be that. I'm like, yeah, but what about the milk?
Yeah.
You put this with a latte, that's gonna make the milk curdle.
I've had some gnarly lattes like that where the espresso's too bright.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It's
I
not
agree with
good,
you.
bro.
It's not good, and like I'm not the kind of person that'll tell someone like it's not good.
Dude, when
Okay.
you see the espresso curdle the milk,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
I've tasted that before.
Yeah, G.
Yeah. When I train people, I always give them a really bad shot. Like I'll
On
pull 'em,
purpose?
I pull them a really bad shot. I'm like, when I remember I was training someone at Westman a long time ago, and I gave her a really bad shot. I'm like, hey, you need to try this. She's like, oh my god, it's so sharp. I'm like, I like you use that word. It is.
Yeah.
That's called it was over extracted.
Yeah.
And
Or it could be under extracted.
or it could be under. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And
Wow.
I like to, when I train people about coffee, I always tell them like to take the negative words away. Take away under extracted.
Interesting.
Take away over extracted. Take away acidic. What do you taste? Does it taste bright? Bright like how? Like an orange, like a grapefruit,
Or
like
a lemon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. And life gives you lemons. Yep.
I love it. I love it.
And so like I started like catering those. Is it fruity? And then I always ask them, what do you taste? When I do like tastings or cuppings, I make like a charcuterie board, and I'll do like fruit, chocolate, nuts, berries, grapes, everything. I'll go to like a grocery store and like buy a bunch of fruit, like one fruit like of each thing, and like and I'll sit down on the table and I'll be like, all right, what do you taste? It's orangey, it's citrusy. Cool, citrus. Cool. All right, try this coffee. What do you taste? Coffee. Okay, try it again. Try the orange and then try the coffee.
Okay, wow. Hold on. That triggers some things in me, because now that you have a different, if that's why you're doing it, you have a different thought process than what normally people would say for cupping, because they tell you not to eat or to try something. You think you should.
Especially if someone doesn't have a coffee palate. I think of it like in a culinary aspect too. Like
would you do a cleansing of the palate between eating the orange, cleanse the palate, and
lots
then
of
try
mineral
it?
water there. Yeah.
Okay.
I would have mineral water and still water.
And still.
So you can try it with still as well.
Wow.
When I worked at Kovo, we wouldn't serve sparkling, we'd do still.
Really?
Because their philosophy was like, we want the espresso to remain in your mouth, like the taste, the remnants.
The still water just meaning like RO?
Just regular RO water, yeah. Like filtered water.
Dude, that's so interesting.
It's crazy. I liked it, and people liked it. They're like, oh, cool. But we had like Topo Chico, but it was.
Yeah, I mean,
not.
Pellegrino, Perrier, whatever. Pick one, you know.
But that's how I at least like to train people to get their palates kind of catered. Because if I put freaking strawberry yogurt on a coffee bag, someone's like, "It doesn't taste like strawberry yogurt." I'm like, yeah, it does, but for me, it does. And it's hard to like. I remember I put Honey Smacks on a bag once.
Honey Smacks.
The cereal.
Yeah.
It tasted like that. I wanted to put like Gansito or something. My wife's like, please don't put Gansito on the bag. I was like, but it reminds me of one.
I fucking,
I
fucking love those.
And she's like, but not everybody's gonna love it like that. I'm like, that's true. No one's gonna like.
Well, it's very much cultural, but it's almost weird because it's like in San Diego, people are gonna get that.
Yeah.
But then it's like, okay, if your coffee's going to
like Montana or
something, they're gonna be like, what the? Unless they're Mexican, they're like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, that's like I put crazy stuff on there, like, because I think it's funny. Like I like have fun with it, and like to have like, I've had a friend that he bought one of the Columbia bags. He had the natural, and he was like, dude, I was drinking this the other day, and it tasted like yogurt. I'm like, yes.
Perfect.
I was like, it's lactic. That's what we.
Lactic.
It's lactic. Like,
wow.
Milky.
Okay.
I've had a lot of coffees that are milky.
Hmm.
I'm like, this coffee would be good with like tea. Like if I do like an 8-hour brew and like put some like herbal tea.
What do you mean an 8-hour brew? Like a cold brew?
Like a cold brew, like an 8-hour light cold brew with some tea. Like, would be really good.
Tea in it?
Yeah, like make like kind of like a tea latte vibe, like kind of like a mixed drink with it.
Whoa.
Yeah, I feel like you can do a lot of weird. One of my friends made a liqueur with a Ethiopian I gave him, and it was super good.
Bro, I did a beer with Booze Bros when I was doing Steel Mill, and they wanted 2 different versions. They wanted like a Brazil with the coffee, and then they wanted an Ethiopian. And they did. Me and Shay, the guy right behind you, he fucking. We like set up like a beer tasting, and they took the coffee and they were just like pouring them in different like here's 100%, here's 90-10, here's 80-20, here's 70-30, and we're mixing the Ethiopian coffee with like a beer. And then dude, we got to a point where like the Ethiopian, because it was so bright and it was so crisp when it was brand new, and then with this light beer it was like, whoa,
like
it
IPA
was
almost.
so fucking fire. But
Yeah.
no, like you couldn't even taste the acidity of the
Wow.
of the Ethiopian anymore. And it just like it got to a point where like blended, and it was beautiful.
That's amazing. That sounds delicious.
Yeah. And I mean, we never ended up doing that one. We did like the Brazil, but it was very, very good.
That sounds bomb.
It was really good.
One of my friends homebrews, and he did a beer with he did like a lighter like Oaxacan, I don't know what it's called. It's like a light stout with our Oaxacan coffee.
Okay.
And you could taste the coffee. It was insane. And it was like a Pilsner. I was like, wow. I could never think about like something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn,
It's crazy. Like I love those like collaborations you can do with people, and like the tastings that you can get out of it. And
yeah.
Cause beer palate's different than a coffee palate.
Dude, just like but I mean, like, do you fuck with wine?
I like wine. I just had my first natural wine like a week ago.
Dude,
wine's good.
Wine's really good.
I
but
can
like,
taste the notes people get. Like
I bet your palate is way more far along than a lot of people because
I have
of
a weird
coffee.
palate, dude.
But dude, I'm telling you, with the coffee thing, because coffee's lexicon has almost like 100 more or upwards of 200 more flavors.
That's like the palate wheel, the lexicon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, the lexicon for wine is
It's insane.
like almost half.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's like way easier to taste. Way easier to taste, and it makes it more fun.
Yeah.
You know, because you can like, especially when you're like no hate on natural wines, but like the other wines are way better, like Nebbiolos, Petit Verdot's, Petit Syrahs, Pinot Noirs. Like, pick your fucking poison.
I like Pinot Noirs.
Pinot Noirs are where it's at. But
Yep.
bro, if you like Pinot Noir, try Petit Verdot.
Okay.
I'll bring you a bottle.
Okay.
Yeah, I got my homie up in Propaganda Wines.
Okay.
He was just on the show. Steve, shout out
Okay.
to Steve. Dude, he's fucking rad, bro.
Okay.
Like, he's up in Vista doing his shit up there.
Sweet.
But he's just like, he's bringing some like Sonoma wines, some Paso Robles wines, some Napa wines. Not Napas are okay, but like all the other ones, like the Paso Robles and the Sonomas, like fire. Son.
Okay.
And he does all the making up in Vista.
Oh, it's amazing.
It's super
That's
buttery.
cool.
Bro, we should go up there. We'll take a
Yeah,
little
let's do it,
field
yeah.
trip. We'll take a
Let's
little
go
field
one
trip.
day,
Let's
yeah.
go.
Yeah.
I'm down.
Yeah, we'll get cheese and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, damn,
Yeah,
son. You
yeah.
want to make a little board?
Yeah.
Shit? Yo. All
Let's do
right.
it,
All
yeah.
right. I'm
I
down.
love those things. Yeah.
Dude, anyway, sorry.
The crackers and stuff. Yeah,
Dude, I'm
all about
super
that, dude.
down.
Yeah,
I'm
same. Let's do it.
Dude, have you heard of Wino Club?
Yeah, I haven't been yet, but I really want to go.
Tomorrow.
Ah, it's gonna be tomorrow.
It's tomorrow.
Okay, I'll try to make it out.
Dude, tomorrow, hey, like, that was my shout out to Derek, shout out to Nisa, shout out to everybody at Wino Club. Like, real talk, that is my midweek reset, and it cannot come at a better time.
It's like industry day almost.
Dude, for me, when I go, like, it's the midweek reset, dude. It is what I need. Everybody come. Go support my homies. Like, just if you're listening to this around the world and you're in San Diego tomorrow, come through.
Yeah.
Like, yo, it is. How do you feel about music? What type of music do you like?
Oh,
Are you like inspired
I
by
have
music?
vinyl and everything, man.
Do you really?
I'm deep in music.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're
I grew
deep.
up with music, so like my dad, rest in peace. He had
R.I.P.
a Latin blues band growing up. So
Did he really?
He grew up in Barrio Logan in Logan Heights when it was bad. Like it was like he took a bus to La Jolla High to go to school.
Did he really?
Like he was like it was like Logan was bad. Like my uncle got shot like a block away in an alley. Like it was big. Like it was bad. So when my dad was 14, my grandpa got him a Fender Strat. I still have it. And like it's an original Fender Strat from like the 70s, 80s. The rosewood neck. They don't make them like that anymore. And he modified it and put like different pickups. So it's like super like custom. But my dad was better than Carlos Santana. I swear.
Woo!
I swear he was. He would play like Santana covers. He'd make his own originals. His band was called the Ledesma Brothers. So he got his brother to play the drums, and then he got his other brother to play the bass. And then he got his youngest brother to play second guitar.
There we go.
And so it was like a family band, right? And
like Salina.
exactly, yeah.
Hey,
And they would play Chicano Park Day all the time.
Really?
Yeah, I remember as a kid. They're on YouTube. You can see the videos on YouTube. Yeah, Ledesma Brothers Chicano Park Day. I guarantee those pop up with an old like camcorder. I would have to film them all the time.
Where like the tracking in the little thing in the corner.
Yeah, with the tripod and everything. Yeah. Yep.
Sick.
Oh,
dude.
the battery died.
Oh
Yeah,
shit!
like
Hold on.
stuff.
What do we gotta do?
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
But so music was always really big for me as a kid, and like I've always feel bad that I never took the time to play more guitar with my dad because I was always working or I was more into other things. Like in high school I DJ'd a lot. Like I played like high school parties. I played like
vinyl
school events. It was digital.
Oh, digital. Okay.
I wasn't into vinyl yet.
Okay.
But I would do like house, trap, dubstep. I was really into dubstep at the time, and I would make beats too, and like that was like my part. Like I like that more.
You're a creative, my G.
I like doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I'm getting into it slowly again, and I think like since my dad passed away, I think it's always been really hard for me to kind of like get back into it because it reminds me a lot of him, and I didn't want to feel like a certain way and feel like sad and like think of like how we would play music together. Like I would play the drums sometimes and he would play guitar. We'd play blues together. Like so much fun. Like
That's amazing.
he showed me like a really good basis of music, like, and introduced me. Like I can talk to you about blues for hours, like Muddy Waters, B.B. King,
Yeah.
Freddie King. Like I love blues. Like, and
You like Howlin' Wolf?
Yep.
Yeah.
I
love Howlin'
Yeah,
Wolf.
Howlin' Wolf's awesome. If you like Howlin' Wolf, you should check out Lightning Hopkins.
Lightning Hopkins?
Yep.
Dude, what's up with these names?
They're awesome, dude.
Dude.
It's amazing.
Dude, people really had really good names back then.
They were good.
Oh, there
Shoot.
we go.
Okay, turn off the mic.
You're good.
Lightning Hopkins is very similar to Howlin' Wolf, but it's a
Okay.
little more dark. It's like dark blues.
Okay.
Really cool.
I love it.
There's a song called like "Grabbing My Shotgun" or something. Yeah, it's really good.
Grabbing My Shotgun.
Yeah,
Yo.
it's really good.
Okay.
But yeah, I grew up on a lot of Otis Rush is one of my favorite. He's like Delta blues.
Okay.
It's like after B.B. King, in between like Muddy Waters, after B.B. King era, like more like modern.
Okay.
Color TV was around, kind of like around. Otis Rush is really good, one of my favorites. But yeah, I grew up listening to a lot of blues, a lot of Santana.
Yeah.
I have a really big Santana vinyl collection. So the whole, like with in terms of coffee, like we made a blend for my dad called Abraxas. And Abraxas is one of the albums by Santana. And it was like an ode to my dad. Like saying that, like, because he would play all the songs on that album. And I know them so well because he would play them all the time. And so when I wanted to make a new bag, I was like, I want to do a blend, but I don't know what to call it. And I was thinking of names. I'm going to call it Abraxas, which means I think it translates to like Supreme Being or something.
Whoa.
Which is super cool.
That's buttery as fuck.
Yeah, it's super cool. Something like that. Supreme Being. It's like a deity of some sort. Really cool. It's like a little weird, like little, I wouldn't say demon, but like a little creature.
Yeah.
But that's our espresso blend. And
So do you find like when you're naming these blends, do you find that you're pulling motivations from music specifically, or like how do you?
it's a mix of everything.
Okay.
Like my wife is one of the biggest inspirations for everything I do, and my dad as well. Honestly, shout out to my wife, Karim. She's like the reason why Provecho is like it is today. She's pushed me, motivated me, and like pulled me out of the darkness to the light, so to say. And music's always been like super inspiring to me, and like I'm really big on hip hop right now.
That's what's popping.
Jazz, Tyler just launched The Estate's Tale. Have you heard it yet?
Tyler the Creator?
Yeah.
I haven't, but like I haven't. I didn't get into Tyler until the pandemic, and the only reason I got into him is because I went to my homie Amanda's house, and it was during like those George Floyd riots.
Yeah.
And I know that there was gonna be that skate for a cause, like or rolling. It was called Rolling for Rights, and it was like it was when San Diego had the biggest skate protest, and we took over the streets, and like everybody was skating and like shut down the. I was there.
Yeah.
I made a fucking sign, and I went from Balboa Park, and I was skating like bombing the hill, doing the whole thing, and I had like a Lil Baby lyric. It was like, I fucking don't even remember the lyric now. It was like white and black, something, but it's like, I forgot the lyric, but it was from his song. Whether it's black and white, it don't really make if it's fuck. I can't remember what it was, but during that time when I was making that sign, I made like a big ass poster board, and like I wrote it out. And the whole time it took me, I think I listened to like 2 Tyler the Creator albums while my friend Amanda was painting, and I was like, "Yo, what is like?" It was 2 Tyler the Creator albums and a Frank Ocean album, and I was like, "Dude, these albums were so good. All the fucking songs, like
the beats are phenomenal.
The beats, but like people shit on hip hop, but it's like if you really start to listen to like the really good hip hop that's out right now, like, dude." I just sent my girlfriend a song that I don't even know the artist, but he just came up on my Discover Weekly, but it was called like Pimpin' with Nip.
Okay.
But it was the song I was playing while we were sitting here.
Yeah.
It's just talking about like real shit, and the beats are mellow, and like the rhymes are real.
Okay.
It's not about like bitches and this and that. It's like about the struggle and about people who are like, they're just trying to get by. And it's like, yo, I relate to that so hard. I mean, that's why I have Nip right here. It's like, dude, when I'm feeling down, it's like, all right, you're feeling down. You want to feel down. But then remember why you have that guy right there. He's the fucking guy, you know? Like, he went through everything. When you listen to any Nip fucking interviews, he's like, I went through all of it. He's like, dude, there's a quote that Nip has, and he's like, the only reason you're stressing is because other fools would have folded. He's like, we stayed 10 toes down out here. And it's like,
hell yeah.
It's like, fuck. You're like, I fucking,
I'm actually not really familiar with his music.
Dude, you got to listen.
I'm going to listen to it.
Bro, you have to listen.
He's on my list.
I mean, like, really, pick and choose. I know all of his music. And don't get me wrong, I really love his gangster shit because, like, he was like a hood G. But when he started really educating himself and really started spitting some real shit, bro, like, you feel it.
Yeah.
Like, I've said, I don't know if I've said this on the, I've had to have said this on the podcast, but like the first time I felt when I really started listening to him, I was listening to Check Me Out. That's a song off the Crenshaw album. It's like, Nipsey Hussle, check me out. Like, to play us double, check me out. And Dom Kennedy's on it. He's like, you know how we ball. He's like, Slauson Mall. And it's like, I got my grills at Slauson Mall. Like, when I got my top and my bottom grills, like, that's what I went to Slauson. And like, I remember going to Compton, and I remember like going up in there, and it's just like this ghetto ass place. And it's just like, I remember relating to that because it was like, it's not a glamorous place. No. And it's like, why are you stunting to put like $600 worth of gold in your mouth? It's like, because you just want to do it. But it's like, you take these things when you're obsessed with material, right? Or not, like a thing that you want to do for yourself, whether it's a gold ring, a gold chain, like gold teeth. But then you start to realize you don't need those things to be the person that you want to be. And by listening to his music, like, he has this song called Double Up. That's my all-time, out of all the songs he's ever done. He's like, we never let a hard time humble us. And it's like, because you can interpret that, so, like, and they ask him about that. I've like seen interviews when he's like, what does that mean? We never let a hard time humble us. He's like, we know we're the shit. He's like, we've been out here, we've been grinding, we stayed down. He's like, you work with what you got. He's like, yeah, shit's hard right now, but you got to work with what you got. He's like, and he even, like, in the context of what he was saying, he was like, I never wanted to be a robber. He's like, I wouldn't be robbing people. He's like, why? I'm going to rob somebody to take from them until I can get more. He's like, that's not going to do good. He's like, work with what you got. And he's like, sometimes you got this. Sometimes you don't have shit. And it's like, you got to work with what you got. And it's like, yeah, bro. Like, I go through the waves. I go through the emotions. I go through the hard times. But I never let a hard time humble me no more. Like, no, fuck that. Like, you stay down, 10 toes down out here. Like, that's what Nip always said. Like, you're only stressing because a real dude, like, somebody else would have folded. Like, we ain't going to fold. Like, we ain't going to fold. Nope. We're down. Like, we're staying here. And then he would always talk. Dude, he just talks about, like, dude, he has so many different quotes. He's just like, I don't need your help. Like, I want to do this on my own. Like, let me learn. Let me figure this out. Like, he talks about education. He talks about bettering himself. He talks about bettering the community. He talks about just real ass shit. Like, I don't know, bro. Like, he changed my life. I never knew him. Yeah. But his name is Ermias Ashkadon, and his name in Ethiopian means God will rise. It's like,
that's dope.
Like, bro, he was the hoodest fool ever, but he had so much knowledge, and he kept transcending pop culture. He kept transcending other people, and it's like I don't worship him, but I definitely idolize him, and it's like, I don't really believe in religion, but I believe in people that I can attest to the struggle and attest to the hard times. And, like, you know, I've had homies who've been murdered. I've had homies who passed away. And he says one thing, like, he put out this song when right after he died. And he's like, you died. I'm like butchering it here, but he's like, you died. But he's like, you know, if it was me, I would tell you to, like, just fucking keep going. Like, and then, like, he had died, and then the song came out, and he's just like, he's like, if it was me, I'd tell you, live your life and grow. My G, live your life and grow. And it's like, every day is a learning process. Every day, it's like, bro, I took a super big L today. I'll admit it. Like, I took a super big L today, specifically today. And, you know, it's been a hard 3 weeks. It's been a hard month, but it's just like, you're only the quote that keeps coming back to me is like, you're only stressing because a real one would have, like, another one would have folded.
Would have gave up by now.
Would have gave up. Like, nah. Like, we're gonna figure this out. You know, like, fuck it, adapt, and overcome, baby. Let's
remember
go.
the reason why you started it.
You have
big,
to.
Yeah.
But it's like, it gets overwhelming, and bro, I'm like, and I will tell you, like, right now, you haven't started the shop yet. Once you start a shop, all the things that don't have to do with coffee are going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
And I think we talked about this when we were talking that first time.
I'm already experiencing some of that with coffee stuff. Like, I'm like, oh, maybe I should use this coffee for the blend just to help margin. Like, it's a lot of things. Like, it won't taste bad, but it won't be like what I always wanted. It won't be what
you wanted.
But and that's when you have that inner battle with, like, am I keeping it real with myself? I always think of that Dave Chappelle skit where he's like, keeping it real goes wrong. Like, am I going to keep it real? Or am I gonna
No, dude, to your point, though, I mean, like, I've switched up my espresso blend, like, but that's what we were talking about, like, right when you got here. I was like, it's like, dude, you're like a chef. You're a chef for coffee. Yeah. Okay, you've been in the game long enough. You're like, this coffee tastes similar, like, to this. How much is it going to change it?
Yep.
But I didn't get pushed to that level until recently, where it's like, okay, I can, like, okay, well, maybe I can't afford to buy another bag of coffee right now. Okay, what do I have right now that tastes similar that I could switch this out, that I can kind of get by with until I can get those margins back? Yep. Or do something like this, because, dude, they start to add up. The electricity, the security bills, the fucking, you know, you get hit with a plumbing charge. You get all of the things that do not have to do with coffee happen. So it's like, that's what stresses me. Yeah. It's not the coffee. But then because you're focusing on these other things, you're losing sight of the thing that got you to where you're at and the thing that you fell in love with. You have to remember that. And that's like, dude, that's why, like, I think this conversation between you and I, it's so needed. And it was, like, for me at least.
Yeah,
like,
for me too.
Dude,
I see you as an inspiration, man. Like, when I last talked to you, I was like, I went home and told my wife, I'm like, new friend I made is fucking dope. Like, I want you to meet him. Like, just so cool. It was like, I just wanted to meet you. Like, I remember seeing you, like, I followed you on Instagram. I'm like, this guy's cool. I want to meet him one day. And it's actually been happening in my life. Like, I've been meeting all these people that I've been wanting to meet for a long time. Like, I met Panka the other day.
Did you really? Dude, I've been trying to get her on the show, bro.
Like, I'm a big fan. She's like, you don't got to be weird about it, dude. Come on. I was cracking up. I was like, I'm sorry if it was awkward. She's like, it's all good. And we were talking about coffee, and
I don't even know who that is, but
They're all about it though.
they're just at the window, like
Yeah.
yo, they pop in.
It's a vibe, dude. But yeah, been meeting so many cool people recently, and I'm like, I think the universe is bringing these people to me, and like guiding me to them because it's a new like circle that I have now and connections I have, and like it's awesome, and it's awesome, like where did I get cut off at? Like the
No, you're good.
Okay,
No, you're good. You were just starting to like dwindle over here. Like
sorry.
Yeah. No, you're fine. You're
I was
fine.
floating away from the mic. But yeah, I'm ready for the shop part, and I'm ready for it to ready for that step, and I'm happy that it didn't come forced.
Yeah.
It kind of like, so the whole reason why we got this space in Bread and Salt is because my friend Berenice, shout out to Berenice, she works with Pablo at Inter-American.
Dude, fucking shout out to Pablo, bro. I love
yeah,
Pablo.
Pablo's awesome. He's been a support for me since the beginning. I remember one day we had there was a throwdown at Communal, and I went against the owner of Augie's Coffee.
Wow.
And I beat him. And Pablo, I didn't know who the hell he was. I was like, it's just some dude with a beard. Cool. Like, I was like, you work in coffee.
Yeah.
And I remember Pablo told me, he's like, Gerardo, you just beat the owner of Augie's. I'm like, yeah?
You're like, bet.
I'm like, cool. I was like, who is that? What's that? I was like, what's Augie's?
Yep.
And he's like, dude, good job. And Pablo's always been like supporting us, and he's awesome.
Pablo's literally one of the best people in coffee, period.
Yep.
And if in San Diego, of course, but in coffee, period.
Yep.
Like, you can't go wrong with Pablo, and plus he's fabulous.
Yep.
Like
awesome.
all the time, bro.
Yeah.
Like any
that
haircut that fool has, like yo, he always be stunting
He's
out
always
super
styling,
hard.
yeah.
Yo, he came in here the other day with a brand new shaved head, glasses on, and some sort of Pablo, I know you're listening to this. Maybe it was like a Prada bag or something.
Yeah.
Like looking hell. I'm like, damn son, like yo, Steve, like
Yep.
Fuego, what's popping?
Yep.
Like damn, how do you do that? But that inspiration on so many levels, coffee, fucking style, just him being him. And then like you follow his Instagram. I mean, I won't air it out, but like if you follow him on Instagram, he's just got a vibe, and it's like you're just you, bro.
I love it.
Like fucking be you, G.
He's awesome.
Like, I love that shit.
Same.
Yo, yeah.
He's been a big supporter of my coffee career, and I remember meeting him a long time ago, and like, this dude's cool. I was like, remember that day? I remember him specifically at that throwdown. I was like, really? Like, it occurred to me that like it was a big deal apparently, but I didn't care.
Yeah.
But Pablo is amazing. Shout out to Pablo.
Shout out to Pablo.
Shout out to Pablo.
Shout out to Pablo. So
shop stuff. We were talking about shop and universe. Berenice. Berenice. She worked with somebody named Wendy, or a friend of Wendy. Wendy is the sister of our friend Jerry, who started his own design firm called 129 or Casa Studio Design 129. And he's actually going to be opening something in Bread and Salt as well. And I hope I said that without it being like
getting
a
in
big
trouble.
deal.
Yeah. Okay,
anyway,
okay. But we'll just leave it there.
Yeah.
We'll just leave it there.
Yeah. He I met him through his sister and Bernice's friend. Like, it was like a 4-person connection.
Okay.
He emailed me. He's like, hey, like, I had a coffee shop in Logan Heights and Sherman Heights on 25th and Imperial.
Jesus.
Like 10 years ago. And it's going to be our 10-year anniversary. I'd love for you to have a party. Like, and we'd love for you to be the person to do the coffee with like our type of menu. And I'm like, let's talk. Like, absolutely. Let's do it. And he, we went to Virtuoso before they closed, and we were talking for like 2 hours. And we were talking about his story. He was telling me everything. I was telling him about stuff. He's like, dude, like, what you're doing is like how I wish I did my stuff. Like, it was like, he's like, what he did, his shop was called Latte Mi Corazon. And they would have like really cool drinks. He would have like this one called Mexi Mocha. He had like a drink called Flying Nun. Like, it was a bunch of like really play on like Chicano like culture. And he roasted his own coffee. They had a coffee cart, and they were just cranking coffee. And it was like a community space. And he told me that he wanted to like do like an honorary like event and do all that stuff. I'm like, yeah, let's do it, man. And the space in Bread and Salt kind of came about because he's really close with the owners, Jim and Isabel of Bread and Salt. And shout out to Jim and Isabel. They're great. They're freaking amazing people.
Yeah.
And he told me, he's like, hey, we could do it here at Bread and Salt. I'm like, cool, let's do it. And one of the day we had this pop up in South Park with my friends Charlie and Manny, who do Cops and Robbers Eat Club. Shout out to Charlie and Manny. We had the busiest pop-up we ever did. We did tortas and chilaquiles. So they made tortas and chilaquiles.
Stop it.
They had 5 people in the kitchen.
5?
5 people. And we had 5 people in the kitchen. It was like super busy. We had a line for 3 hours in South Park. 3-4 hour line. Like, it was insane. Probably exaggerating. But Jerry brought Isabel, the owner of Bread and Salt, to that pop-up. And I felt so bad because when they finally got to the line, they were waiting for like 2 hours. They were waiting a long time. And she loved our setup. And I felt bad because I didn't get to talk to her. And I felt like I was rude or I said something wrong. I was like, oh, man, I hope I didn't mess up. And she called me the next week. She's like, I loved your setup. Let's talk. I went and talked with her and Tom, the curator of Bread and Salt, and we were working something out. We were talking. They're like, yeah, we'd love for you to be here more and do coffee. And we started doing coffee events there in September of 2021. Yeah.
Damn.
2000. I think it was last year. Yes, it was last year. Started last year. No, shit, it's been a long time. It was 2021. And we did like the Zine Fest. That's the Zine Fest there.
Oh, like recently? Or is that like they do that
Every
consistently?
year, once a
Okay,
year.
yeah, because I know that just happened.
Just happened, yeah.
And
Yeah.
because I know some people who had their zines there.
I think it was that one. Yes, it was that one. It was last year. It was very fast.
Like the 2022?
Yeah, it was 2022. It wasn't 2021. We were going to do 2021, but my wife and I went on an origin trip to Oaxaca.
Dude.
So we weren't able to go. They're like, hey, we'd love to have you. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm out of town. Like, but try these guys. They're my friends. They do coffee.
For sure.
And we did that, and it was busy, dude. We had to go get more product. Like, it was that busy.
Yeah.
And the next month, we did another event there just for art and coffee, and like, they loved it. They love our setup. They love the vibe. They love the brand. And the conversation kind of came up like, oh, why don't we just put you in here? Why don't you just open something here? Like, and then Jerry kind of like has been like a major figure and super supportive and like amazing individual. He's been kind of guiding me and like being a mentor. And he's like, hey,
Dude, I love that.
You don't have a home, like open some, like let's talk. And I met with Jim, Isabel's husband, and we talked about everything, and they're like, yeah, whenever you're ready, like, let us know. And I remember I quit my job at Blue Bottle last November, and the day I quit, I met with Isabel, and she gave me the green light, like, let's do it.
Like, pull up. Let's go,
She's
baby.
like, we're ready. Like, we've been ready. Like, we're ready when you are. Like, and I was like, cool. And I couldn't believe it. Mm-hmm. And for like the longest time, I wasn't talking about it. And Jerry told me, he's like, Gerardo, it's happening. Don't keep it a secret. Like, talk about it. Like,
yeah.
You're opening a shop here, and that's happening. And I'm like,
That's
okay,
poppin'.
cool. And yeah, it's just been like, but it was from like just a whole of connections that I've made. And I saw Brady said the other day, I'm like, dude, thank you so much. Like, You're the reason why I'm here, because you connected me.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, you're here because you're hard work. I'm like, no, fuck that. It's not my hard work. It's like you connected me. And like maybe someday I could have been there, but you made the connection. So thank you. And like there's so many people that I want to say thank you to them more than I have already, because it's just like,
dude, shout them out right now.
Yeah, shout out to all the people that's been supporting me and like gave me the opportunities. And like I was talking to someone today, and he was asking me, he's like, so when you started pop-ups, did you have to pay? I'm like, no. Mm-hmm. My friends had spaces, and they just let me do my thing.
Let you do it.
And I'm like, whoever starts a coffee cart or a pop-up, I always tell them, don't pay.
Yeah.
Ask your homies if they support you. And I didn't even ask people to start it off. They were just like, you want to come pop here? I'm like, okay. Nobody wanted anything from me. They just wanted to
want to put you on.
They just wanted to put me on and see me grow. Yeah. And my friend Lee J. Razalan, he owns Stay Classy CrossFit in Logan. I catered his anniversary one day and did ceviche. He told me, that was like right when Provecho was kind of getting the wheels going. And he told me, he's like, gee, I just want to see people succeed. Like, that does it for me. And he made me cry. I was like, stop.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, like, he made me get that one tear, that one. And
yeah, because you don't cry.
I can't cry, dude.
Yeah, I remember we were talking about that before the podcast.
It's really hard for me to cry since my dad passed away, because I feel like I let all my sadness out almost. And like,
yeah.
And if I cry, I always tell people good job. If people get me pissed off, I tell them good job, because it takes a lot to get me mad.
Nice.
Yeah. Fun fact. But yeah. Yeah, and ever since he told me that, I've been like living by that almost. Like, someone's like, hey, Gerardo, thank you so much for helping me. I'm like, dude, yeah, I want to see you succeed. However I can help you. If you want like 10 pounds of coffee, dude, take it. I want to see you freaking do it.
Yeah.
Because like that does it for me. Like I'm like, hell yeah, my homie's opening up a pop-up and he's killing it.
Yeah.
Like that's amazing. And it's hard. It's not easy, but that struggle is like the most beautiful part of it. Like thinking like, how am I going to get this $5,000 to pay this coffee? It's like you just do it. You make it happen.
You ever heard
figure
that?
it out.
You heard that J. Cole song, I Love Yours?
I think so.
Dude, if you got to listen to that one, that's a hip hop song. You should definitely listen to
Okay.
it. It's like, he says there's beauty in the struggle, and then, fill in the word.
Yeah.
But like, that's a lyric that you just said right there. There's beauty in the struggle. And that's that's what it is, bro.
It is. And I like it.
There's
like
beauty in the struggle, man. Like I honestly feel like I sometimes you just get so caught up you forget. You really forget.
Yep. It's a big thing, and like you gotta kind of like keep it real with you and like be like, all right, why am I doing this? Like reevaluate your life almost every now and then, like rethink things like, why am I roasting coffee? Why am I doing all this the way I want to do it?
Well, dude, I mean, it's like we were talking about before the podcast. I mean, I won't get into like the other spots of it, but like meeting my girlfriend is like a huge reality check for me. What she's going through, what she deals with in my, yes, the things that I deal with are serious.
Yeah.
And yes, I don't want to say life-changing, but they're like very serious, right? Like I don't have another word for it right now. But when I listen to the things that she has to deal with, it puts things in perspective, And I definitely will say that I use that and like, hey, it's like a little, like, hey, stupid, like, relax, It's not that serious.
Yeah.
Like, yes, it's serious. Yes, you can deal, but like, you will overcome, because the reality of the situation is that somebody that you love, that you're in love with, that you want to see be okay, is dealing with something so much bigger than like monetary or financial things.
Yep.
That are, in the end, money's money. It comes and goes.
Yeah.
Fuck it. Like, everything will be okay.
Yeah.
Your health is the most important thing at the end of the day.
Health and mental health.
Yeah, right?
Yep. Over anything.
How do you find balance and or stress relief? Because I know you hustle. You're hustling right now.
Work a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
But every morning, my work day starts at like 11. I try to make it start at 11 sometimes if I can, right? My wife and I will wake up and have coffee for an hour.
Really?
And like, that's my favorite moment in my day. Like just waking up with her, making breakfast for us, and like sitting for an hour and having coffee. And that's like, we just talk about the day, we talk about business, we talk about everything. And then also that like hour when she gets home from work and I get home and like just talking about the day. Like that's part of the balance, right? Another thing is like, I listen to a lot of music because I'm driving around all the time. So like music helps a lot too. And dreaming about how I want to make music again, that also helps too. Because I know I'm like, I might not be able to do it now because I'm in the business and I'm trying to get this going. But I know maybe in like 5 years, maybe less, I'll be able to make an album maybe, or write something for myself to heal myself, right? Because I'm getting the bug again to make music again. And I think that's one thing that's really important too for work, life, mental health balance, is like making time for you. Remember 3 things at least that you like to do, and try to make at least 10, 15 minutes a day doing it. It's a little bit, but it might make a big difference.
I love that.
Right? Like I play guitar, and like sometimes I'll noodle around for like an hour, maybe 10 minutes. I'm like, well, I gotta do the emails.
An hour to 10 minutes, that's a big difference.
Yeah, it's a big difference. But 10 minutes is big,
Yeah,
like
I know.
I was messing around on GarageBand the other night, and I was like, this is gonna be sick.
Yeah, I love that.
And then I was like, I'll finish it later.
Yeah.
And then one day I will, but maybe not this month, maybe not
Yeah, yeah,
next
yeah.
month, but I will.
Mm-hmm.
And if not, I'll come up with something better. But that's really like my time with my wife is huge for me.
That's awesome.
Spending time with my sister. I'm really close with my sister. Shout out to my sister. She's been amazing support system for everything too, and the whole Provecho thing and my adult life. We've been really close since I was probably like 18. Yeah, we've always
Is she younger or older?
She's older than me.
Older?
She's 3 years older than me.
Okay.
She has 2 kids too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I'm a godfather. So
Oh shoot.
yeah.
Okay.
But
Uncle and godfather.
yep, uncle and
Okay.
godfather. Yeah, all the heaviness.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, spending time with her and being with my nephew sometimes it makes me like realize like all the shit I'm worried about, like bills, business, all the financial stuff. I'm like, this kid is living it up. Playing with this like this toy that's like just going back and forth, and I'm like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Like he has this thing called we call it Robo Crab. It's like a crab that you turn on and it starts doing this like song din, 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 and it just goes back and forth, and he loses it, and I love that.
You're just fulfilled off of love.
And I'm just like, I love it too.
Yeah.
Like, this is cool. And it makes me like remember like simplicity. There's beauty in simplicity. Like when I was growing up, I lived in Texas for a little bit, and I remember seeing the deers and how simple they were. Just like they'd just be chilling, eating grass, and I'm like, and it'd be quiet. There's crickets chirping. I'm like, there's nothing to do here, but I regret sometimes not indulging in that simplicity enough. Because coming to San Diego, it's not as hustle bustle as like New York or Chicago or like another city or Mexico City or LA.
Yeah.
Everyone's really lax here.
San
and chill.
Francisco.
Yeah, but if you're a small business owner and you're trying to get yourself up off the ground, you're hustling or you're working a lot. You're grinding.
Yeah.
And you're cranking out stuff and trying to get it going, and like the payoff is knowing that like all this will pay off one day. Hopefully. I try not to say hopefully. I try to always make sure like it's gonna pay off. Like I'm not gonna stop till it pays off. And like but I going back to like kind of what you said, like that's kind of like where I find balance is like spending time with my loved ones, doing something I enjoy. I play video games sometimes, so like play video games on the computer and like I'll decompress and like I'm like, all right, I'm good. An hour, maybe 2 hours, maybe 4 if I have time. Like, but like it's that helps a lot too.
Rahina always says something to me because sometimes we're complete opposites in our perspectives and our way of life, but then even like it's so nice to have that alternative perspective because I don't see things the way she does, and like she offers me something that she'll say to me. She says, I'll be like, yeah, I'm just trying to survive, and she's like, mi amor, she's like, not survive, trying to thrive.
Mm-hmm.
And like I think about that shit all the time. Like, and I said that today. I caught myself saying it, and like she, instead of saying thrive, she's like, you know, I know it sounds cliche, but she was like, when there's a will, there's a way.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that simple. Like if you're struggling, like you'll figure it out. And she's like, I can't really help you because this is something like out of my element, but she's like, just know I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, and that's sometimes it's all you need. Like just knowing you have that support system. I mean, like kind of bringing it back to like what you're saying about like, if you got me pissed off, good job.
Yeah.
You know, but if you made me cry, good job. Because like, I think one thing we can definitely relate on is like, dude, I never used to be a crier. Like I'd stay pretty like closed off.
Yeah.
But there was like, until I met my girlfriend now, like it was only my grandmother. Like as soon as I see my grandma, like I swear to God, bro, like, cause she lived in Northern California before she passed away. And she was like, I remember one of the last times I seen her, like she was like always working up until 94, just always working, just like in the kitchen doing something. And I remember I walked into her house and was like, hola grandma. She's like, oh, Cano, and just started crying. And like, bro, like waterworks, just fucking doesn't even matter. Like doesn't matter what she say to me. Just I'm a baby when I see my grandmother.
Yeah. And
it's like, I feel the same way when I talk to my girlfriend. Like when sometimes just like the shit she says to me, I don't even know. I have this thing we have this thing. I say, it's just you. Like, it doesn't matter, like, what it is, who you are, it's just you. And that's, like, at the end of the day, like, I find so much inspiration from her to do better every day. Like, yo, shit is hard as fuck right now. And you don't, like, know if there's a light at the end of that tunnel. But then you have, like, that solid support system. Somebody who, at the end of the day, success or failure, they're still in your corner cheering you on. Like, yo,
Yeah.
you're still number one.
Yeah.
You know, like, you're still our number one. And
Yeah.
it's like, dude, you know who Deontay Wilder is? Do you know that boxer?
No.
Okay. So there's this boxer, and they made a meme out of it.
Okay.
And he was the heavyweight champ at 235, something like that, light for a heavyweight.
Yeah.
And then he goes up against Tyson Fury, who's like, maybe like 260, 265, like big boy. They call him the Gypsy King.
Okay.
And he's just a boxer, bro. He knows. He's a legit gypsy. And like, have you ever seen the movie Snatch?
Yeah.
Like Brad Pitt.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, they're gypsies.
With the Mickey.
Yeah, the Mickey.
Yeah, yeah.
And they box. That's a real thing. And so Tyson Fury's a fucking gypsy. He's from that type of life.
Wow.
Like a real life Brad Pitt, but he's like 6'9" and like,
Wow.
like 270 some. And he challenges Deontay Wilder. Has like 60 pounds on him. Something. I could be off on the weight, but it was light and heavy. Still heavyweights though. And Deontay Wilder lost not once, twice.
Wow.
They had a draw, and then the first fight, and then the second fight he lost, and then the third fight Deontay Wilder lost, and he got knocked out. But after the second fight, they made a meme out of it, and it was like Deontay Wilder's in the corner, and he's being lost, and he's just sitting there, and like he's out of the ring, but he's sitting on like the stool, and his wife is sitting there, and his kids are sitting next to him, and he's like defeated. He legit lost the fight, and his wife is just sitting there with like a cloth wiping off his face, like wiping the blood. And it was like, if she ain't like this after one of your biggest L's, I don't want her. And it was like,
Yep.
I just think about that because it's like, bro, when you're battered and bruised, you don't want your partner being like, you're fucking weak, you're this, you're that. But you also don't want them to baby you. But it's just like, hey, dust it off.
Mm-hmm.
Get that shit off your shoulder. Wipe the scars. Okay. Regroup and move on. And it's like, I think about that shit a lot. That's
real.
That's real shit, man.
It's a thing. Like, most definitely, my wife is real with me like that.
Yeah.
She tells me, she's like she'll be straight up with me about something. Every time I make something new, I always give it to her. And if she says no, I redo it until I get her to say yes. Because I know she's going to be the harshest critic.
Really?
But also be my greatest critic at the same time. Because she wants me to be the best I can be. And vice versa. And as much as it hurts, I'm like, damn, like, really? She's like, yeah, it's not the good. And I'm like, all right, try again.
Do you make like a pour over for her? What do you do?
Well, it's like if
it's a new coffee.
It's usually like espresso drinks. I'll be like, hey, try this. And she's like, nah. Like, all right, back to the drawing board. And then I'll do something and she's like, oh, it was really good. Or like, I know she, like, if I make coffee for her, if she finishes it really fast, I know she loved it.
Without even saying nothing.
Without even saying anything.
Yeah.
And then if she didn't, she doesn't finish it. And that's how I know. And I'm like, maybe I didn't make that coffee that good today. And I think about that. I'm like, maybe like, so I I'm thriving and like striving to make her like the best coffee I can. Because if I can make, like, because that's how I'm going to make coffee for everybody else. If I can make the best coffee I can for my wife, I can make the best coffee I can for everybody. And it's kind of like being the best you can be. One thing that really kind of clicked for me in that way is when I was cooking at Blvd, my chef Sal, he told me.
The mic, my G.
Oh, sorry. I keep going away from it. My bad.
You're good. You're good. I can tell you're thinking when you're like holding it, but like, yo.
Yeah, I'm like trying to think. Hold on, 1 sec.
Just wearing the hat fucks you up, huh? No more beanie today. For everybody who can't see, he's wearing a hat today.
Wearing a hat today. But yeah. My chef Sal told me I messed up like an egg or something. He's like, or I did a plate really bad. And he's like, would you serve this to your girl? I'm like, no, chef. He's like, make it again.
Oof.
And I've been thinking about that. I'm like, would I give this to my wife? Probably not. I'm gonna remake it for that customer. And I would tell it to people I would train, especially if they were like a dude and they had like a partner. I'd be like, hey, would you make that for your girl? He'd be like,
No.
they would. I could tell they might lie to me. I'm like, and be honest. He's like, no. I'm like, all right, do it again. All right, and I would push them to be better, and like my Karem in a way, like she's been 100% on in a way. She's pushed me to be the best man I can be.
Yeah.
And vice versa for her. I've been pushing her to be the best woman she could be, the best person she can be. And that's when you know you found your right person. Because you're always pushing each other.
Dude, you got to be the biggest supporter.
And that's the best thing. The cool thing, like, it's people ask me about my, like, how I met her and everything. Like, I knew I wanted to marry Karem on our second date. Like, right away.
That's tight.
It's kind of like first and a half. Like,
First and a half.
Yeah.
I love that.
Like, because she was
I
like,
love that.
She was like, at the time, like, my friend was doing like a art show in LA, and I was like, if I ask any girl in San Diego, they'd probably tell me, no, you're crazy. I've only known you for a week. Like, they would just say no, flat out. Like, I don't want to go to LA with you. I don't know you. And I asked Karem, like, hey, do you want to go to LA with me? We were dating for like a week. Do you want to go to LA with me and like go to art show, my friend's art show? Yeah. Hell yeah. And like, but that day we were in LA, I was like, this person's freaking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and if I can, and like, it was crazy, like our kind of love story. Like I didn't speak that much Spanish, she didn't speak that much English. So like we used a lot of translate, and like
That's tight.
it was cool. It was romantic.
That's hella romantic.
Yeah,
Yo.
it was super romantic. And like and then I learned how to speak Spanish and now we speak Spanish all the time. But, I knew, and like, I always tell people, like, because I've been asked, like, how do you know? I'm like, you just know.
You just know,
you
bro.
just feel it.
When
like,
you know, you fucking know.
And you feel like the butterflies in your stomach. You feel nervous. You feel like you want to be really good that day. Like, you want to look good. You want to be like your best you can be. And if you mess up, you feel really bad. And when you feel really bad, that's when you know too. That's the person you're supposed to be with. Soulmates are a thing. I think it's a thing.
It's a thing, bro. It's definitely a thing. I would definitely. Yes, I agree.
And from what you've told me, I'm sure you feel very similar with
Oh, bro,
she sounds awesome.
No cap. That's I have so many things I'd want to say, but like this isn't about me. So like, it's about you, because like I wanted you to talk about you, but like I will say, like today specifically, man, like without getting into it, like today was a really hard day for me today, and I turned off my phone for a while, and I didn't want to talk to her because I felt like I was failing, and I was like, I just do not want to talk to her. But then like as soon as I talked to her, she's really honest with me. She's like, I don't know what to say to you right now, but just know that like I'm here, whatever you need. All right, cool. I mean, I'm abbreviating, of course, or like whatever, but like at the end of the day, like I do feel better. I honestly feel better though because of this conversation too, because like things happen for a reason, and like the universe brings things and like people and like situations into your life.
Yep.
Where it's like, hey, there's other avenues, there's other things, there's other ways to handle things, and I think you have been a big part of that. So
thank you.
Yeah,
you
G.
too.
Like no,
like
too. Dude, like I just think that with Rahina, dude, she, without like getting too crazy into it, but like, dude, like she walked into that door like right here. She literally just walked into my shop, and like, bro, it was so funny. Like I'll never forget it. She walked in, and she walked in 5 minutes before. It was like fucking out of a movie, bro. Like she walked in like 5 minutes before I was closing. My homie Danny was sitting here, and I was in the back. It was flooding, and I was like shot backing I was shot backing the fucking water out, and I'm like, fuck, like it's just literally just happening right now. Like fuck, and then like she walks in and she's like, hi, hola. And she's like, I walk out, and like Danny's like, Connor, you have a customer. And I like walk out, and she's like, are you closing? And I was like, well, like 5 minutes. I was like, so no, I'm not closed. And
Yeah.
she's like, I was like, oh, what's up? And she's like, soy Regina. And she like throws her right hand up.
Yeah.
And I was like, cool. And I was like, what's up, Regina? And I was like, what's your name? She's like, Regina. And I was like, she's like, it's Regina. And I was like, oh, Regina. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then she's like, I'm Renee's friend. It's like her one of her best
I
friends.
remember I met her the day I met you.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
She
funny.
pulled up. Renee pulled up. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, I was just like, as soon as I seen her, it was like, from first glance, I was like, yo, what's up? Like, yo, what's poppin'? Like, this girl's hot as fuck. But like, you know, and then like we just started talking, and it was literally just like, let's just put it this way. I literally saw her and I canceled whatever plans I was doing that night because I wanted to like see her. And then the next night, or like we ended up not meeting up that night, and then it was like, she's like, hey, I want to see you tomorrow, and I just like planned a date and we hung out. Seen her again the next day. She extended her trip, and then I don't know, bro. Like, I always, like, we have this thing, like, again, super cliche, but like, it's just when you know, you know.
Yep.
And it was like, to your point, bro, like, I don't know what it is about her, but like, she exudes light, and to me, and it
Like excellence for you too.
it's like, it's just, she's a motivation. She's like so creative, and she's so cool. And again, to your point too, like, you talking about, would you make this for your girl or whatever? She's a chef.
Yeah.
And dude, she has this thing with, she really loves perfect, or like, I wouldn't say perfect, but like nicely cut things. She has like a thing for that, because I mean, I guess she's a chef, right?
Yeah.
So she loves how nicely cut things are. So when she makes food, things are like
Perfect.
Yep. And I remember I always am like hesitating cooking for her because she's a fucking chef. Like, but I know my shit tastes fire. So I was like, all right. So I one morning, one of her last trips here, she missed her flight the night before. Whatever. She missed her flight. Okay. But like, we ended up having another day together, and we like, it was so nice. We had breakfast together, and like, you know, I pushed off my roast day just to have an entire day with my girl. And I had to do like a consulting job later in the day, but I was like, hey, that's not till like 1 p.m. So I was like, let's make us breakfast. I got us some tortillas, and I got us eggs, and I was like, you know, she likes presentation and nice cut things. But then like, I made us these like tortillas with like eggs and avocado and like other things and like some tahini and like flavors. And I was like, look. She looked at it and she was like, what the fuck? Like, kind of like, not, she didn't say what the fuck, but she kind of was like, you know, like, what, you know, kind of like that look, like, what the fuck is this? And I was like, I know it's not nicely cut, but I was like, it's going to taste fire.
Yeah.
Just like roll it up in a tortilla and it'll taste fire. And she tried it and she was like, oh,
It's good.
this is pretty good. And I was like, I know it doesn't look like much, but it's going to be fire.
Yeah.
And that, to your point, bro, like to your story, it's like, would you serve this to your girl?
Yeah,
it's a thing, dude.
And
she's a huge motivation for me and a huge inspiration. And like, it sounds fucking super dumb maybe to some people, but like, just having her, like, little words of encouragement, like little affirmations.
Yep.
Those things go like,
super meaningful, and like, it's huge for all of us.
it's the small things, bro. The small things have huge impacts.
Yep.
And that's all you need sometimes. Just that little extra, like, we got you.
Yeah, and you
like,
guys are doing like long distance stuff too, huh?
Yeah.
That's how my wife and I started too. When we met, a month in, she was like, hey, I'm going to go to New York to work with my aunt and take photos. And I'm like, okay. And I was like, I'll be here. Like, I was going to go to San Francisco State and become an English teacher.
What?
Like, I was about to go to finish school and get my master's and all that stuff. And then I was like, I'll wait for you. Like, if you want, like, I'm down. Like, I had a lot of good fun with you. And she messaged me like 3 days later after I got my offer letter and everything. I was ready to go. She's like, hey, like, I really like to spend time with you. If you're down, like, I'll wait for you too. I'm like, bet. And my dad got sick around the same time, so I was like, I might as well stay in San Diego. And I remember 6 months into us dating, she was like, hey, like, I have a week off. Like, you want to meet over here somewhere? I was like, you want to meet in New York? And I'm like, yeah. So I didn't know her for like, I knew her for like less than 6 months. We went and spent a week together in New York.
She was already living there.
She was already there, and like we met in like in Brooklyn, and like and it was amazing. Like I spent a week with her, and I told myself, like, if I don't rip this girl's head off in a week, I could marry her, like 100%, like real talk. Like I know I want to marry her, but like
Yeah.
if I don't,
You
rip
need
her
that
head
test.
Off, yeah, and
you need that test.
And it was the best week of my life. Like it was amazing, and I remember coming back. She came back a couple months later, and then we just kept the momentum going, and like your situation, like it's long distance, but you're making it work,
bro. But dude, to that point though, like to your point, fucking, I did not make a trip to Miami because I was like, she's gonna come here.
Yeah.
After 6 weeks of talking.
Yeah.
I was like, I had 2 incredible nights with this girl.
Mm-hmm.
I knew this girl for 3 days, and then she's coming here for 12 days.
Yeah.
Okay, if I can make it 12 days with this girl and not like want to just be like, nah, I'm going to go and I'm going to be fully in. And then she left 12 days, and it was like the saddest thing when she left.
Yep.
And I was just like even more in love with her. And I was like, bro, what the fuck?
That's how it is. Yeah.
Bro.
I
love it, bro.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, same. Dude, hell yeah.
Dude, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
sorry.
you're good. It's all good. No, man. No, yeah, love is super important, and Karam's like a monumental part of my success. I don't even think I'm successful yet.
I mean, dude, you're doing pretty well, G.
I'm doing okay.
I mean, you're doing pretty well, G.
I want to do more, and I think that's why I work so much, because I feel like I'm not doing enough, and I'm like, oh shit, I need to do more. Like, if I'm like chilling for like 2 hours, 3 hours doing nothing, or like playing video games, I start getting mad at myself, and I'm like, I could have been like fixing the website, I could have been like doing this, but my wife will tell me, Karam will tell me, like, you need to relax, dude. Like, stop. Like, last week I was working for like probably 14 days straight, and she was like, you need to chill, like you're getting kind of like irritable, like relax. And I did, and I felt better. But
that balance, right? Back to what we were talking about.
And
that
it's
balance.
super hard to get that, but it's something that you need to force yourself. Like, non-negotiable, I'm gonna spend an hour on myself today. Like, sorry, like I'm gonna take a break, everybody. And like, if you start putting that in your head as like it's non-negotiable, and start telling people like non-negotiable every day, I spend an hour skating. Like he did that, for example. Feel like, damn, that's sick. Like, that's cool. And like, and it's something you could start living by. And like, non-negotiable every day, I'm gonna be doing this, or at least once a week, once a month, like. But you know in your head, like, I'm gonna get that reward at the end. Like, I'm gonna get to do that, and it's gonna feel so gratifying when you do it. That you're gonna feel great. Like, it's like I like to make playlists, and like when I make a cool playlist, I'm like, yeah, it's good. And then I listen to it, I'm like, all right, I gotta make another one.
Yeah. Dude, the new music is a big deal too.
Yeah,
like,
it's huge.
Dude, I think that's one of my favorite things of like, damn, I guess Rahina would be one of my best friends, because like, I've newever actually said that out loud, but like, 'cause she's my girl. Like, it's just that kind of goes without saying. Automatic.
Yeah, they're your best friend. Yeah.
But like, we'll send each other music, and I'm like, damn, like, this some fire.
Yeah.
You know, but like, she doesn't really like rap, which is fine. I'm totally fine with that. I was actually talking to my friend Danny about that today. I was like, he's like, oh, she doesn't like rap, and I was like, yeah, but I'm okay with that, because like every girl that I know who like really likes rap ends up trying to be like kind of like a ratchet, like, you know, like whatever. But like, no hate, ladies, sorry, but like,
you're good.
Yeah, it's like I'd rather the girls that I'm interested in like not really care for rap too much, because it's like, it's definitely like a mentality type of thing. And like Rahina, like, she stretches her own canvas and like paints these like really, really big canvases and nice paintings. And dude, like one time we were FaceTiming while she was painting and like creating this like beautiful piece. And she's like, because she's a chef, she like made a chocolate mousse, and she's like eating this chocolate mousse and like listening to this great music. And I'm like watching her do it, and I'm like, what the like, who are you? Like, this is such a vibe. Like, damn, you're so cool. Like, I'm so impressed right now. You know, like, and then, but like, then she'll send me the music that she's listening to, and I'm like, damn, this is really good music. And it's like a lot of like, there's a lot of inspiration in what she sends me and what she's been doing, and kind of just like inspiring my life, that you'll see it in the shop. it's like what I've been thinking about is like, how do you translate that to your brand to like show your influences? Because like, I mean, like we were talking about earlier in the conversation about like your dad,
Yeah, Brox's blend.
the Brox's blend inspired your like is inspirational to your brand.
Yeah.
And you know, it's super funny. It's like, dude, my coffees that I have right now is Bendiciones,
Mm-hmm.
Todos los Días, and Issa blend.
Yeah.
All of those, I mean, like, damn, okay, obviously I'm inspired by Spanish and Spanish artists. Bad Bunny, Robot 95, and then Issa blend is off of the 21 Savage album.
Yeah.
But it's like,
It's a good album.
it's a really good album.
Yeah.
Dude, FaceTime is and like Thug Life are
Yeah.
like my two favorite songs off
He's
that
good.
album. Dude, I fucking love 21
Like his,
Savage.
I saw a video of his like shoe closet. During COVID, it was bad. I got into like the whole sneaker stuff.
Oh,
and I
you
was
got
like,
some sneaker. I mean, you got some fly sneakers on right now.
Hey, these are my Europe ones. When I was in Europe,
your
I
Europe
used them
ones.
for Europe the whole trip. It's the only shoe I had like the whole time I was there.
I love it.
It was amazing.
But I find so much inspiration through music, and I want that to reflect in my brand, and so, and just life, man. Like my friends inspire me every day.
Yeah.
Like I honestly, like there's days when I'm just like, I just rolled out of bed and I made it here, and like I don't even give a fuck anymore. Like I'm just like, whatever, I'm gonna make coffee. But then my friends come in all hyped as fuck, like what's poppin', like da 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 da, and like
You have your new
that gets me
regulars.
jacked.
Yeah.
Like that gets me hyped, and that turns it around. You
Yep.
know, like man, I don't know. Like I'm excited to see where you go. I'm
Thank you.
excited to see how you grow. I'm excited to see all the support you have. I mean, we talked when you were here, dude. Like your story. I mean, like I know we jumped around a
No,
lot,
it's all good.
and
It's
like
been a mix.
and life has just kind of
how I
like
am
mixed in
general,
there.
like
Yeah,
ADHD, you know?
but like it's so cool. And I mean, one of the things that stood out to me, dude, and like I know this sounds super weird, or maybe it sounds super weird to people who are listening, but it's like one thing I took away from our conversation the first time we met was you were saying how you're cool with like Jan at Floor and Seed, and then like G at Long Play, and then you said some other names, but it was like the common denominator for all of us is that we're all Mexican.
Yep.
And everybody's kind of like coming up around the same time, and that was super inspiring. That was like one of the things that I took away from our conversation. I was like, I didn't really think about that, you know? And it's really cool to see how everybody's like connected or like kind of knows each other, and either they're from Mexico or they're of Mexican descent. I think honestly, out of everybody we talked about, I think I'm the only one of Mexican descent, because I think Jan is from Mexico City. G is from Tijuana.
Yeah.
You are from here, but you live in Tijuana.
Yeah, my dad was born in Tijuana. My mom was born in La Jolla.
Oh wow.
So I'm like super mixed. I grew up super white. Like I grew up with eating like Weenie Mac and like freaking like white tacos with the old El Paso shells and stuff. But then I would
Oh,
go to my
wow.
grandma's house in Logan, and I would have beans. I would have flour tortillas. I would have
Corn
like,
tortillas.
my dad would make this thing called slop, and it was like fried tortillas with like salsa and eggs. It was so good. It was
Kind of like chilaquiles.
it was
or
kind of like a lazy chilaquiles. That's why
Okay.
he called it slop, because it looked ugly, but like
It's,
similar
it's
like
yeah,
when you're telling what you made for your girl. Like
yeah.
it looked weird, but it was fucking
it's
fire.
gonna be fire.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's what my
yeah,
dad
yeah,
would
yeah.
And like yeah, I grew up very mixed, and I don't identify with almost neither side of the culture that much. Like I consider myself Chicano, but I don't know if I'm 100% Mexican, because I can't really relate to a lot of, it's not like not relate, but like I don't know like where I feel in, you know, like where you have to fill the dots. I'm like, I don't know which one. Like
Bro,
I just put me like
no,
yeah, like,
I feel the same way.
Yeah.
Like I remember the first time I watched Selena the movie,
yeah.
and there's that scene where they're babies, and they're like, you're not Mexican enough for the Mexicans, and you're too Mexican for the whites.
Yep.
Bro, that's how I hella felt growing up, because like I didn't like, I like you.
I felt like that too.
I don't really identify with my white family, because number one, I only met them a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
My mom's side of the family, I never really met them. My whole family experience in my life was my Mexican family.
Yeah.
But the thing in my family when I was growing up is that they didn't want us speaking Spanish. my grandmother spoke Spanish. My uncles, only half of my uncles spoke Spanish, and then the other ones, like, there were 7 brothers.
Yeah.
Like the top, like my dad and my uncle, and I think maybe like 1 or 2 other my uncles spoke Spanish. Everybody after them only spoke English because they were like, we don't want you learning Spanish. Because like my dad,
So my dad told me.
yeah, they used to get beat for speaking Spanish.
Mine wasn't that extreme, but it was similar.
Yeah, well, like at school they would get beat, and they would like
Really?
switch them out. So they like my dad, like I was telling you before the podcast, my dad is the second oldest, and then my uncle Rogelio was the oldest. They grew up in Texas in Donna, and they would like their first language was Spanish. And then when they would go to school, they were like, do not speak Spanish. And then so they would take my uncle out, whoop him with like a ruler or like a switch. And then like they would like switch him and then make my dad watch. And then they would switch him. And then my dad would get beat.
Wow.
And they would be like, until they learned English. And so it was like really big. Like they would speak Spanish in the house. And so when I was growing up, I could like understand it, but I didn't know what the fuck. And then so it's like it was that weird, you're Mexican, identify with some of the cultural things like food and like, you know, definitely like the Virgin Mary and
music.
like
Virgin Mary's huge for me.
Yeah,
I have a Catholic tattoo.
Dude, I have the fucking ring on my
finger. I
finger.
have the Sacred Heart tattoo for my dad.
It's a big deal.
It's a big deal, and I still do the
dude,
the
all
whole
the time.
like I don't know what it's called.
Father, Son, Holy Ghost.
Yeah, I do that every time I go into like a crazy situation or a business deal or something.
Bro,
like,
every time I get on a plane, I don't even go to church anymore. But I get on the plane, I go, Father, Son. It's like,
when I pass the church, I remember I got baptized. I do it too, because my dad would do it, and it's a culture thing, and it's like Earl Sweatshirt said this in one of the songs. He said, "Too black for the white kids and too white for the blacks."
Bro,
like it's like that medium, and you don't know where you kind of fit in. Like I remember I had friends who told me, "You're not Mexican here," and I'm like, well, I don't know what I am then. Like,
bro,
I don't want to say I'm white because I don't think I'm white. Like I'm like, I want to say I'm Chicano, but I'm like I know a lot about Chicano culture. I can talk to you about Chicano Park, but like I don't know where I will really fit in. And like it's a weird subject, and it's like you can't just be like you can't be. You say mixed, like almost like it's just weird. Like it,
dude. There was a guy. I used to work at La Jolla Beach and Tennis Club when I was like 21 to something like that. I was young, and there's a guy Jesus, and he was from Tijuana, and he's like, your name is Cano, and I was like, sí. He's like, hablas español, and I was like, no, and he's like, so, but you're Mexican, right? And I was like, yeah, and he was like, so you're Mexican. You're white, or he's like, you're Mexican, you look white, and you talk black. He's like, you're all fucked up. And I was like, whatever, you know? I know, I was like, whatever, bro. But then I remember, like, people are just like, you're not Mexican. And then I started dating, like, Latinas from Mexico. And, like, I remember, like, one of the girls that I met from Tijuana, and I was dating her, and she said to me, she's like, you're not Mexican. And I was like, I get that because I'm not from Mexico, but, like, and I was even talking about this the other day to Regina, and I was like, the thing for me about being Mexican, it wasn't even about, like, my skin color. It's not about none of that. It's like, yes, I look white. That's fine. I understand this. But, like, my dad is dark as fuck. My grandma,
my
dark
dad
as
was too.
fuck. Yeah, like, my whole family, for the most part, is dark. Like, none of my uncles are light-skinned.
I'm one of the only ones that's light-skinned in my family.
Bro, my grandfather, Eliseo, light as fuck.
Yeah.
But all of his sons, dark as shit.
Yeah.
And, like, when I grew up in the Bay Area, it's like, dude, the Bay Area is tight. It's a melting pot. But it is racist, especially when you're growing up, like, towards people. And I'm not trying to be, like, victim or whatever, but that's just what it was.
Yeah.
And I remember being called racist slurs, wetback, spick, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I remember I was telling Regina about this fight that I got in that was, like, super racially motivated. And there was a kid in my class. His name was Juan. And Juan barely spoke English. Almost all Espanol. And I spoke no Spanish, and I was only English. But I remember going up to him in 6th grade, and I fucking walked up to him, and I was like, Juan. I was like, my name's Cano. And he was like, nombre es Cano? And I was like, sí.
He understood.
Yeah, he understood.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm Mexican. And he was like, really? And like, he's like, ¿de verdad? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, he's like, yo también. And I was like, cool. let's hang out.
Yeah.
Like, you know, because like I don't know, you're sick. How old are you in 6th grade? Like 11, 10?
Yeah, you
like,
don't know.
You don't know, but I was like, hey, same.
Yeah.
Like I might be different, but whatever. So
we can relate.
We would sit next to each other in the lunch hall, and I remember like one day, I won't get into like what the kid said, but he said some shit to me, and like the bottom line is like the kid was saying some shit to Juan, and then he said some shit to me, and I was like, bro, he might understand what you're saying to him, but I understand, and I'm gonna beat that ass. And so like we ended up getting in a fight, and then like I remember that was like kind of a common theme because people would see my grandmother or my father dropping me off at school, and they were like, what the fuck, like, and they would try to like hate on me for that.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, my whole life. And I remember like when the first time I dated a girl from Mexico and she told me that I wasn't Mexican, I was like, look, I get that. I'm not from Mexico. I'm United States.
Yeah.
I get it. I'm American. But when I've fought for it, when I've bled for it, when I've gotten beat up and taken an L, or I beat that ass and like beat up somebody for it, to me, it doesn't matter what side of the border you grew up on. It's about who you are as a person. And like, again, I'm not from Mexico, but I do identify as being a Mexican, period.
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't grow up with my white family. I grew up with my Mexican family. I grew up with the people that like, you know, you're making tamales and you're fucking like you're praying to Lady the Virgin Mary or Lady Guadalupe or like whatever you want to call it. That was what I knew growing up. And to me, that regardless of what side of the dirt you grew up on, that makes you Mexican. So to me, that's what it is. It might not be that way for Mexicans from Mexico, but hey, if I took lickings for being Mexican, I'm Mexican.
Yeah.
And like, I'm doing my part to learn the language. I'm doing my part to respect the culture. But like yourself, bro, I've had to learn the culture on my own.
Yeah.
And I'm still learning, and like I find out things that I love about it. And there's also things I find out about Mexico that I'm not too fond of.
Yeah.
But all in all, bro, it's the best fucking thing ever. And I am so proud to be Mexican, you know? Like, it's one of my favorite things.
For me, it's like I got to like learn my culture when I moved with my wife over there.
Mm-hmm.
We moved over there. I've been there, like, kind of just like submerged myself in the culture. And I got to like learn a whole new culture, like Tijuanense culture, but also Sinaloense culture. So like I learned about like my wife's family in Sinaloa. Everything, my sazon, which is like your season, it translates to season or seasoning. Like
I was gonna say flavor.
Yeah, you're like your flavor.
Sabor.
Yeah, like your flavor of your cooking.
Mm-hmm.
It's in debt to my suegro and my suegra. Like my father-in-law and my mother-in-law. I can make you aguachile. I can do like shrimp ceviche, like potete, which is like fried shrimp or not fried fish. Like so good. And like everything they like birria, even like everything I know how to cook on the Mexican side is because of them. So like when I was cooking, I was like very Mexican culinary inspired. Like I would make like, when I learned how to make birria, I asked my suegro, I'm like, how much chiles like in grams are you putting? He's like, un puño. And I was like, well, your hand's about this big. My hand's about this big. That's probably like 100 grams.
It's like, it's all flavor.
It's all eyeball. And like, and it's the best part. And so it's kind of like, that inspired me to almost like in the coffee aspect too. Like you kind of can just tell. And I remember like my friend would always tell me, he'd be like, sorry, I'm going off track a little bit.
No, you're fine.
I'd be grinding coffee. Like if the scale died on a shift, I'm like, hey, watch this. And I'm like, this is gonna be 20 grams. And like we would charge it, try it. He's like, damn, you're right. That is 20 grams. Or it was like 19.8 or something like.
There you go.
But it's just because we know, like we feel it. We know, like, and it's like with roasting, you can feel it. Like you kind of like,
dude, it's the energy, bro. It's the love.
Exactly, and that's what kind of rounds everything out. But like going back to like what you're talking about, like with bullying and stuff. Like I grew up like a super like white kid. Like like your name's Gerardo Ledesma. You don't speak Spanish. Like they would tell me the same thing. My dad told me growing up, he's like, I didn't choose Spanish because I didn't want you to get made fun of. And I was like, dude, you were hindering my like adult life. If you taught me Spanish, I would have been above the food chain, like in terms of job placement and stuff.
Things were different back then, though.
And it was different. And like he grew up in Barrio Logan when there was LH13 was a thing. Like his best friend was like in a gang, in the LH13 gang. Like it was a whole thing.
It's a whole thing.
And like that's why I don't know if I identify with completely Mexicano, but I identify more with like Chicano. But I'm also like super mixed because like I'm like pocho. Like I look white, but I'm, you know, like I look, you know, like I look white, but I'm Mexican. Like, and but like the Chicano culture and like the whole movement, I felt closer to because I grew up around it. I family in like Pacoima had like the lowriders and the trucks and all that stuff, and like going to Chicano Park Day and all that stuff, and like I can talk to the like about the murals. Like I took classes. I educated myself about that culture because, and then when I moved to Tijuana, like I learned about the Mexican culture more, and like it's amazing. So I'm like in this like weird like medium, and it's
that gray area.
It's kind of scary because then there's moments in your life where you're like in a situation, you're like, should I tell this person like I'm Chicano or like I'm Mexican, dude? Like or like it's almost like what card should you play?
Yeah. And
it sucks that you have to do that sometimes, and you can't be real about stuff, and it's just that's the world we're in, and it's
I call that turning on my white boy.
I have to like,
sometimes
honestly,
I gotta turn on the white boy. Like, oh hi, how are you?
I gotta play the white card. Like, oh my god, how are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, hey, dude. Like, I gotta pull the surfer. Like, hi, dude. Like,
like what's up? Like,
yeah.
No,
exactly.
Dude, same.
Yeah.
Same, dude.
And it's weird. Like, it's in. And you do that switch, and you go back. Like, what's up, dude? Like,
yo, what's poppin'?
You're back to normal, and they're like,
okay, on that way.
And the person like waiting for their drinks. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like,
dude, one of my dude, it's so funny though, because even when you go to Mexico, like, I was in Tijuana a couple weeks ago now. It had to have been a couple weeks now because my homie Beta was here. We went down over to TJ because he's like, yo, we're gonna go to TJ tonight. I was like, okay, because he came down from the Bay Area, and he's like, you guys are always going to Mexico. Like, I want to go to TJ. All right, cool. So we go over there. We go to like a coffee shop. We go get some tacos, and then we just start going to bars and hanging out. But we took him to our favorite taco spot. And me and my roommate Ray Ray, who's also Mexican, but same thing, like a white-sican, like just white, but he speaks really good Spanish. And he was like, they were like off in the corner, and I was like trying to get a taco, and the guy, who's the same fucking guy, dude, I swear to God, this fool has to know me by now because we go to the same fucking spot.
Which one do you go to?
It's Tres Salsas.
Oh, that's a good spot,
dude. I love that.
You gotta go to Tacos of Frank.
We've been there.
That one's good.
That one's
good.
The
tortillas, though, from Tres Salsas are better because they make the tortillas themselves.
But, dude, I get the vampiros.
Oh. You got to get the samurai.
Samurai? Okay, I'll try that.
As for samurai, I think they only do it at Amaderas, which is like 2 doors down.
Oh, okay. Because all of them are taco shops.
It's a taco street. Yeah. But there's the samurai is like a quesadilla with a chip inside. It's like that crunch. It's
yeah,
so
the
good.
crunch, dude. The vampiro is like they put like it's like a tostada on top and the tostada on the bottom. So it's just like
it's like a crunch wrap, but
it's like a Mexican pizza.
Yeah.
Like a Taco Bell Mexican pizza.
Yeah.
I said that to Regina, and she's like, "Is that a thing?" She started laughing. She's like, "I can't believe you just said that."
Taco Bell's a thing.
Taco Bell, like a case of like Mexican pizza, like. Anyways, but like dude, I was standing there.
Don't take her.
She was like, no. But like, and I was standing there, and it was super funny because like Ray and Beta went off to the side, and the homie was standing there, and he was like, "¿Quieres huevo?" I was like, "Vampiro, dos, adobada," and he was like, "¿Quieres huevo?" I was like, I said it already. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, yep, dos vampiro, adobada, and he's like, okay, and I was like. Why do you just wanted to call me Güero? That's all he wanted to call me.
They're like, ¿Qué onda, Güero? Like the barber I had in Tijuana, he would call me Güero all the time.
All the time.
He's like, you're like a coconut.
Dude, I said that to Regina, and she didn't even know what Güero was. I guess in Miami, they don't say that shit.
Yeah, it's a thing down there.
But, dude, it's interesting where she grew up. Like, she was saying, because, like, she grew up in Mexico City, but then she moved to Miami.
Where in Mexico City did she grow up?
I think in La Condesa. So, like,
that's a nice area.
Nice area.
That's nice. That's like growing up here in, like, East Lake. East Lake mixed with like South Park. I would say more South Park.
Okay, I was gonna say because I've been to La Condesa and I was like La Condesa is nice and that's where all the coffee shops are.
Did you ever go to Chiquitito Cafe?
Dude, I don't even remember. We went to different cafes every day, but like I don't remember all of them. And the one I wanted to go to was Irevia.
Oh yeah, but that's out there.
But like it's out there, but then they do like over in Tecate. They
have them
at Kilo Libre. They do Irevia.
Luis has it. It's so good. That guy, Carlos de la Torre, he's amazing.
Bro, isn't he like the roaster of the year or some shit? Like
he won a Slayer, a one group head Slayer at Coffee Masters in Los Angeles.
He won one.
Won a Slayer and he took it to and they shipped it to Mexico for him. Fuck. And I was like, that guy's cool.
Dude,
I
shout out
haven't
to
met
all
him.
the homies over there.
I would love to meet him though. He seems like he'd be a cool dude.
Bro,
to
that's
talk to.
like that's another reason why I do a lot of the like the carajillo, the non-alcoholic carajillo, the AeroPress brew method. Like I'm gonna be switching over my Mexican mocha to like other things, but it's like, dude, I do things because of the culture in Mexico. Like when you go over there, I don't want to shit on American culture for coffee, but the second wave came and it's gone.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's not our dedication to the craft was like what Mexico is now.
Yep. They're ahead of the game.
And dude, they are fucking
Killing it.
killing it. The brew methods. Like you go to Kilo Libra and Kilo Libra is like fucking siphon, AeroPress,
everything.
pour over, Chemex. Like what do you want?
He has a linea and everything. It's
whatever
insane.
you want. They have single origin like espresso, they have this, they have that, and it's like, dude, that's why I go over there. That's why I keep that, dude. And then plus, like, to be featured with the coffee shops from Mexico that are on his menu. Like, bro, I know it doesn't mean shit to people here in the United States, but, like, when I see it, because I traveled through Mexico, is like, you see Herevia. Like, dude, he put on the like, on his brew bar, he's like, Café con Herevia, Café Estelar, caffeine and green.
Yep.
Like, what the fuck? Like, bro, like, I was like, I'm so honored. Like, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Like, you know, gracias, mil gracias. Like, yo, fucking, oh my God. Like, I love that shit. And then you go into Tecate and people are buying the fucking bags and it's like,
it's amazing.
wow.
That's how I feel about my guy in accountant Felix, Valentin.
Mm-hmm.
They use Say coffee and they use brandy wine. And I'm in the middle.
Dude, that's what's about.
And I'm like, and I get so many like orders online from Phoenix. And I'm like, what the hell? And that's it for me. Like, I love that. Like,
that's all that matters.
And I remember when I first like started selling him coffee, he's like, dude, like your coffee's the most expensive I buy.
Yeah.
Why? And I'm like, because I went to Oaxaca and I had to bring it over here myself. And he's like, cool, let's do it.
Fucking
like,
A.
let's keep going. He's like, and I've had him word of mouth contract. It's amazing. They're awesome. And like that, those things like that for us as roasters and as like business, that's everything for us.
It is.
Like the direct trade stuff, that's everything for me. But a lot of the time the customers won't care that much. But for me, I'm like, I'm doing it for me. Like it's, even though no one's gonna know like about this coffee, they won't ask me. Like it's like you would getting the coffees in the cut. You're like, that's fucking dope. Like you have your coffee with the big dogs almost.
Yeah, and it's cross border, bro.
And
like I want that.
Yeah, and
I fucking want that.
We're so close that it has to be like that, and it's.
But it's like people like, dude. I mean, I know you know. I mean, like you live in Tijuana, so it's like. But for me, it's like to go to TJ. Like, bro, if somebody hit me up tomorrow, be like, hey, we're gonna go to TJ. I'd be like, actually, I don't have anything to do tonight. Yeah, let's go. It's that simple, dude. You ask a normal person to go to fucking TJ, like, oh, this is like a whole thing. Like, I have to, like, I don't know. Like,
I don't have my passport.
Yeah, like, it's like all these excuses. Like, dude, you literally, you're gonna go to fucking, and you live in North Park. You're gonna go to Encinitas and go have dinner and then come back. Okay, you might have to cross the border, but literally, you're gonna drive a half hour north to have dinner and then drive a half hour back. You can literally do the same thing and go to Tijuana, go into a new country, speak another language, have just as good food for half the price.
Yeah,
and also just have an experience and experience something new.
Yeah, I gotta take you to my favorite restaurant down there.
Where is it?
It's called Tras Horizonte.
Okay,
my wife and I are regulars there. We go there like once every other week or once a week.
Dude.
And like they used to know us by like our taco order. Yes. It's like grilled seafood. The chef, his name's Chef Oso.
Okay.
He is like total like Rasta dude, like has dreads. Like they have like they have a big fish tank. It's like super cool. It's like they have that. It used to be called Cocopelli, and I think that's the little dude that plays the flute, that little drawing, the desert drawing.
Yeah.
And they had they started like a taco stand, and then they opened a restaurant, and they're super cool. Whenever the chef comes to talk to me, I'm like, oh my god, you're talking to me.
Dude, when Regina comes, we'll go.
Yeah, you guys we'll make a day out of it.
Yeah.
We'll take my wife and like, Dude, I'd
down.
love to share that experience with you because that was the first place my wife took me when we went to eat together in Tijuana, like as a real, like when we were actually dating, like when she came back over here after New York, and it was like it was the first time I had crickets.
Oh.
They have this taco called Fin del Mundo, and it's queso panela with mole, and it has crickets. Champolines.
Dude, the fucking crickets are
I love them. I love them. If I could serve it here, like at a cafe, like on a pastry or something, I would do it. Or on a toast, I would 100% do it. Like,
I mean, there's cricket powder. Why can't you do it now?
Yeah, I can bring them find a way to export them.
Fuck it. Do it.
Yeah.
Dude, that's
it's like that place is amazing, man. I'd love to take you guys.
Dude, I'm down. Have you ever been to El Lugar de Nos in Tecate?
No.
Dude, that's the spot.
Is it good too?
That's my favorite restaurant.
Okay.
Over at Tecate, that's my spot.
Okay. Supposedly, if you're a resident of Tecate, you can go to the brewery every day for a free beer or something like that.
What?
Yeah. Someone told me it was like it can be a 40, it can be a can, it could be
Just a free beer.
Caguama, it could be like
You just live here.
You just live here, you get a beer.
Even a michelada?
You wait in line, yeah, you get a beer. I don't know if it's michelada, but it's like they give you a beer. Like,
okay.
it's really funny.
I'll ask Luis.
Yeah,
ask him.
Ask him about it. Yeah, ask him. Like, hey, Gerardo told me about like getting beer at Tecate. He's like, oh yeah.
Dude, that'd be fucking
Luis
sick.
is cool, man.
Dude, I love him.
He's awesome. He gave me like a super good experience when I went there.
Dude, dude, they fucking kill it there, bro. And his cafe is
It's sick.
pumping.
And he's always busy.
Always.
Yeah.
Like, I want to be like him. Like, but it's and like, but I mean, it's also like, there's not too many. There's a Cento Coffee Roasters in Tecate, which is like a couple streets down.
Yeah.
And they're super cool too. But I mean, his spot is the spot. Like, no hate to Acento. Like, yo, shout out to them too. But like, his spot is the spot because I think it's because he has all the different roasters.
Yep.
And like his coffees and his merch is like
his merch is sick.
Next level.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I wear all of his shit. Like, bro,
Yeah.
I have my Kilo Libre hat in the car. I have Kilo Libre shirts. I have multiple Kilo Libre gear. Like, I rock that shit tough.
He used to make bags, I think. Like, I think he had like a biking brand.
He did. Well, he was a biker. Like,
he
or
would
like
ride
a
fixie.
cyclist.
Yeah, I used to do that too. Yeah.
Did you really?
Yeah. I have a Bianchi Pista. It's in storage, like sitting there, getting
Of course
dust,
you did, bro.
Dude, I was telling that to Dan the other day. He's like, "You're a true like coffee hipster." I'm like, I don't know. It's like, I don't know.
Más o menos.
I was like, kind of just like fell into place slowly. Like, I
Dude.
was like, I need a bike, and then my friend's like, "This is a good brand." I'm like, "All right, let's get it." I cut the brakes off.
Wow.
I took off the front brake and just had the
Damn.
manual back brake.
Okay.
I would ride on the Strand. I remember we'd go riding on the Strand, and I would like nick people because I would be going so fast. And I'd like nick the old guys, like the Vejitos riding like in their group, and I'd like accidentally hit him in the elbow or something. I'm like, I'm so sorry. They're like, hey, like put your brakes. I'm like, I don't have brakes, man. Like, I'm sorry.
My bad.
I was like, no freno. Like,
wow.
It was crazy. We used to go biking all the time. Me and Yashua, the guy who's roasting with me, Yashua.
Damn, I love that shit, man.
We in the beginning we wanted to open we wanted to make a roaster that like you could use with biking. And we slowly like tossed it because I was like, that's not gonna work.
That's gonna be really hard.
Yeah, I was like, that's gonna be a lot of work.
It's gonna be a lot of work, but hey, maybe you might get in shape.
One day Kickstarter, home roaster for the true enthusiasts.
Wow, dude.
It's like something you'd see on like Portlandia probably, like
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, like a fake skier coffee roaster that can do 20 grams at a time.
Dude, don't even get this started. If somebody's listening to this in Portland right now, they're gonna fucking be like, that's a good idea.
Portland is exactly like Portlandia.
Is it really?
When I was at Kova, they sent us there for Christmas, and we got to go see the roastery. We were there for like 3 or 4 days. We saw the roastery. We ate a bunch of food. We all got drunk together. Like, it was really fun.
Yeah.
And I was like, this place is actually like Portlandia. I was like, damn, it was crazy.
Dude, I've never been there. Right before COVID hit, I was supposed to go to the SCA, and I was still doing jiu-jitsu. And one of my friends works for Adidas. So I had this whole trip planned out. It was like, dude, it was like a 5-day trip, and only 3 days was at the conference or whatever. And even on the days of the conference, I'd already reached out to the gym that I was gonna do jiu-jitsu at, and then every other day I was gonna be at Adidas, like skating with my homie Joey. Shout out to Joey. But he and then COVID happened, and I was like, yo, G, I'm not coming. Like, they fucking canceled everything.
Yeah.
But that would have been like just the fucking dopest trip. Because like, dude, honestly, like it would have been coffee, skateboarding, and fighting. Those
Everything
are
you
literally
love.
everything that's in the shop right now. Like, I would have been like, fuck, that would have been such a sick trip.
Take Regina one day.
I'm fucking down, dude. Like,
when you go to this place called Pine State Biscuit Co.
Pine State Biscuit Co.
It's a biscuit company, and they have really good coffee too.
Okay.
Portland was one of the places where I found good coffee and good food kind of put together.
I mean, I would imagine.
There was this place called Albina Press, and they were like super OG. They didn't use scales. They didn't have any of that. They would just make it like the classic way.
Whoa.
Like when I started specialty coffee at Westbean a long time ago, we had scales for pour overs, but not for espresso.
Interesting.
on a Cinesso.
How did you do it for timing? You just pulled the shot?
The Cinesso had like a timer and pre-infusion.
And pre-infusion.
Yeah, but we didn't have scales at the time.
Okay.
And so I remember looking at it, I'm like, yeah, that's 19. And we would just guess.
That's how you gauged it.
I think that's why I got it like long term. I was like, yeah, I kind of feel it. You can kind of tell like by the stack it makes.
Yeah, and the way like the peak kind of comes, or if it's like leveled out.
And then if you tamp it, you know you did too much if it feels heavy. Or like it feels like you're tamping too much. Like it's a feel thing. Like
it comes. It like also too. You can kind of be like, I can get away with 17.9. It's like 18. Yeah. You know, it's like or 18.1. It's like 18.1 is too heavy though. Like 17.9 to 18.
I like to do that like point 0.3. It's like 3 is like the gauge I use. Like if I do 20 gram shots, and if it's like 19.7, I'm like, yeah, it's okay. And then if it's like 20.3, it'll be okay.
I started out at 19.5, and now I'm down to 18.
Wow. You found like your blend tastes better.
It's not even about the blend, dude. It was like, I saw this video. I fell victim to I don't want to say fell victim because like I definitely liked the idea because I was doing 19.5 between 25 to 30 seconds. I saw a video from Spermetheus, Asa Bays. He's been on the podcast multiple times. He's a fucking great guy.
Super
good
cool
homie.
dude. Yeah.
And he was talking about like some recent video. He was talking about like the quick shot, and it was like having a shot being pulled at like 22 seconds, something like that. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna try this because, dude, I tell him all the time, like, bro, I've multiple times in consulting jobs, in training people, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna teach you things, but if you want to keep studying, watch his videos. This dude has amazing videos on latte art, on coffee education, stuff like that.
It's all subjective.
And try it, implement it, and see what happens.
Yeah.
So again, being a student of him as well. I watched his video and I was like, I'm going to try 18 grams at, between 20 to 23 seconds. Bro, it tasted the same. Wow. I was like, fuck. But I was like, it wasn't as heavy and as dark, but it was nice. And it was like cleaner. And dude, to the point today as well, at the beginning of the day, one of my regulars came in and he's like, bro, I almost called you. And I was like, really? And I was like, why? He's like, you always make really good coffee. But he's like, there was something about it the other day. He was like, it was just fucking perfect. And it was during the time that I made that switch. And I switched it over to that 18 grams at like 20 to 23 seconds.
That's the best feeling too when a regular customer tells you like, best latte I have. I'm like, thank you.
Yeah.
That's the best feeling for me too. Like it's in general. Sorry, I'm bunching in. I'm going off.
No, bro, you're fine. You're fine.
It was like when I love like cracking the customer. Like I had a customer that was a complete like asshole. Like he was just not an asshole, but like kind of like more like cortado. Like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Like, you're getting a cool drink, man. Like, you want to try a different espresso? No. All right. And then like a couple weeks passed by, and I was like, "What's your name?" And he's like, "Tony." I'm like, "Nice to meet you, Tony." Shout out to Tony.
Yeah.
He's not an asshole, but he was a lawyer in downtown, and he's just very stern. Like he looked mean, and I was like, "This guy, I'm gonna crack him. I'm gonna make him be nice to me." And I got it.
Yeah.
I got him to drink Ethiopian espresso. Like I got him to try oat milk. Like I got him to try all these things, and like he just. I love like cracking the customer to grow confidence in the baristas.
Yeah.
And then you can transition that into your employees, which is or your team, and it's amazing.
Yep.
Yeah. But going back to what you're saying about the shots, I can relate to that because I've been messing with my espresso too. Because I usually do 20 grams in and I do 30 grams out.
Oh, wow. That's a big shot.
So I do 1 to 1.5. Kind of. Yeah.
Oh, not a big shot. That's actually like.
It's like a medium shot. Big shot's like 40,
shot.
50 grams. Yeah.
Oh, wow. You're doing big shots.
I'm doing like 30 gram shots. Yeah. But I switched it recently to 22, 25 gram shots. Like I have a way. Like I try it at 22 and I try it at 25. So if one's off, I know it'll still be okay. Like when my dialing in process is like I always try it at like I try to go between 25 seconds to like 32 seconds for my espresso.
Wow, that's a big window.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big window.
Yeah, and I found that the shorter ones, like the 25, like the 24 even, 24 second to 27 is the sweet spot. but I always like to try it longer, just in case I'm really freaking slammed, and I'm talking to someone and I let it go a little too much. I'm like, okay,
Oh shit.
I'll try it, and I'm like, and then I'll try it with milk and sugar, and I'm like, it tastes good.
Yeah, I was gonna say with the sugar, like you can do those longer shots because it's like, oh, you pull like a 31-second shot. If I'm working at that 25 to 30-second window at 19 and a half in, 36 out, and then you hit it with the sugar, like it's like a maple brown sugar latte. Like, bro, you're putting 2 ounces of fucking sugar in there. You're not gonna fucking taste the difference.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, whatever.
But I've always liked short shots. Like when I get served like 40-gram shots, I'm like, oh, I can't finish it sometimes, and I feel bad because it's good, but I don't want to finish it sometimes.
If it's over extracted or like the thing I do, like when I'm dialing in, I'll pull the shot, I'll take the shot. The shot's good. I'm like, okay. But if it's off a little bit, I drink half and then I fill it with hot water. And then I fill it up to the top for a mini Kano. And then once I drink a mini Kano, if it tastes good as the mini Kano, I know the shot's good.
I like that. I always do. Like, I got sick in my stomach a while back because I was trying. When I worked at Kovo, we had like 3 different espressos all the time, and we had 2 pour-overs. I'd have to dial in everything.
Jesus.
And I'd wrecked my stomach like a year in because like I would just drink espresso, and it was good. Like the coffee was so good that I would just drink it. I'm like, oh, I don't need to dump it out. And I would dial in like each espresso, decaf even, and like I eventually got like my stomach messed up, and the doctor's like, you can't have coffee. And I was like, dude, it's my job. Like, I can't not have coffee. And so what I started doing was I started eating a lot of fiber before, like a lot of oats and like grains before I would go work. And then I would be okay.
Yeah.
But I started doing like a spit cup. I had to. Because
I only do 1 or 2 sips.
Like I'll do like a sip and I'll like spit it out. And if it's good, I'll swallow it. But it's
wow.
But it's just because I don't want to mess up my stomach again. Like, so when I'm doing cuppings with people, like with like I told you about, like the
you do
tasting
spits
board,
on that? Wow.
I let them. I'm like, take a spit cup because you're gonna get freaking jacked if you keep drinking this.
Yeah.
I always ask people, how caffeinated do you want to be? That's my like best way to gauge what they should drink. But yeah, like the shots, like that's huge,
dude.
I don't get to talk about that stuff with people a lot, and I love nerding out about coffee stuff because I'm like. My wife understands that kind of stuff sometimes, but I'm like, I should just keep it to myself sometimes. It's a lot. Like
it's a lot for some
we can
people.
go on tangents for hours about espresso extraction.
Oh, 100%.
Or like roasting drop times or like first crack and development. Like it's, when you get into roasting, it's a whole other thing. Like forget espresso.
Oh, dude,
like, that's a whole other beast.
Yeah.
And it's the cool thing. Like what I give you so much props and congratulations because you got the roasting beast down and now you're in the cafe beast. And that's hard. It's a whole other business.
Yeah.
But the cool thing is your margins are lower because you're a roaster. And you have that wiggle room. Not wiggle room, but like you know what you can work with.
I mean, it's like what we were talking about for the podcast, man. Yeah. I was just like I'm starting to to utilize my knowledge as a roaster to switch out things and not have to order coffee as much and utilize the coffees that I have that are similar in taste to cut costs. Yeah. I didn't want to be that guy, but at the end of the day, it's like
you're a businessman.
You have to you have to thrive. Not survive, but you have to thrive. Yep. And you got to work with what you got. Shout out to Nip. Like, yo, like he fucking was like, I need to work with what I got.
Yeah.
Work within your means. Whatever you got to do.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to, like, I'm big on the quality and the craft. So whatever I have to do to keep this dream alive, I will fucking do it.
Yeah.
But without compromising the craft and the quality, because that is my one thing. I do not want to lose the craft. I don't want to be fucking Starbucks, bro. That's not why I started this.
Yeah. When
you come here, sure, maybe there's not like the best gimmick. I'm not, and this is not a shot at them, but I'm not a love song. You know, I'm not other spots. I choose love song to say it because, like, bro, they're doing it.
They have $100,000 roaster in the back,
dude.
Automated,
and they're on right next to Pigment. It's like, yo, yeah, they're killing it, but like they also probably have a pretty high bill, you know. So it's like they have to do what they're doing, but their marketing is fantastic, and they're also like they know what they're doing. They have they have it dialed, and will it stand the test of time? Only they know. Yeah. And only the people in the area know. But for right now, they're killing it. But I'm not that. I am who I am. This shop shows that.
It embodies you and your personality.
Exactly.
And that's what people are drawn to.
But that's also too, like the podcast, what we're doing right now is a really, I mean, this is what everything's grown out of. So it's like to stop doing this would be not true to myself and not true to what this brand is.
Yep.
So do I have that look, that image of what Love Song is doing? No. But I have my own image and I have my own style. That's what it is.
I have something to tell you too that it's important. Maybe it'll inspire. I used to always get mad because people in San Diego would open shops, or people in Tijuana would open shops, and they were bad.
Yeah.
And I would tell my wife, I'm like, fuck, like these people are opening shops and like it's so busy.
Yeah.
And like I'm freaking struggling to get a pop-up going. Like, and she's like, just keep doing what you're doing. Like, don't worry about the other people.
100%.
They probably had somebody give them money. You didn't. And you're doing it. And then I don't want to like, and now like seeing like the progress of, I started selling pour overs on a fold out table with a freaking black tarp from Smart and Final, dude.
That's what's popping.
And cold brew. And like, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I didn't have numbers. I didn't have spreadsheets, nothing. And then that got busy to the point where I was making 5 gallons of cold brew.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe then I got to the point where I was doing 10 gallons of cold brew to pop. And I was like, okay, cool. And then I bought an espresso, a little mini, and then the pop-ups got crazier. And I was like, okay, I'm doing something that's moving. I should keep going. And it was like, but the whole like Provecho brand, it like represents me. Like, and it's through the drinks, through my culture. Like for example, we have a drink called Orange Dream. And the story of that drink is because it's an orange cinnamon reduction drink, right? So it's my take on an orange dreamsicle.
Sick.
And so that happened because before we changed it to piloncillo latte, it was a café de rollo latte. So I made like café de rollo syrup basically. But then I just changed to just piloncillo because I wanted something super simple. And I was trying to think of another specialty drink, and I was like, okay, I'm going to do orange, maybe cinnamon, because I already have cinnamon. And then I was thinking of a name, and I was like, Orange Dream. And the reason why I called it Orange Dream is because when I was younger, I was peeling chiles with my uncle, and I touched my lips.
Oof.
And my lips were on fire, like serranos. Like I was peeling serranos, and I was like, fuck, my lips are on fire. And my dad, I was in the car going home, and I was like, Dad, my lips are on fire. Like it hurts. I need something. And he pulled like into a Rite Aid, like super crazy. Went in really fast and threw 2 boxes of Orange Dream bars in the back seat. And he's like, eat these. And I ate 2 boxes of Orange Dream bars in less than 10 minutes on the way home. Like just macking them.
Just to cut it. Yeah.
And I remembered that taste. So, and I'm like, I want to make something. And that kind of like is something that like from my youth that I remembered. And like, that's, and like with you, like this Caffeine and Green is you.
It is.
As a person, as a business owner, as a whole entity of a being, right? Like, and it's amazing because you can little by little show people and explain that to people. And like, people like your shop so much because of you and what your experience. Like when I came here, I was like, if I came in every day and I got to talk to you like the way I do right now, like I'd be like, hell yeah, I'm gonna come here all the time.
Yeah.
Like the day I came, I was like, dude, this coffee's great. Like I wanted another one. Like I was like, this is so good. And
thank you.
Yeah, your cold brew was.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I really do.
And like, yeah, but yeah, dude, it's like little things like that we piece together, and that makes our brands. And like, yeah, there's places like Love Song that looks like I thought it was communal when I saw it.
It's very aesthetically pleasing.
You know, and
and shout out to them. Like they're doing a
they're
great
doing
job.
Great, yeah,
they're doing a great job.
They're doing great. And Steven, the manager, he used to work at Coffee and Tea's a great guy. But like for people like us getting it going, it's cool the way we're doing it because we're like setting the foreground for the next part of specialty coffee. Because there's all these younger cats that are coming in the game. And I think it's so cool because they're so young and they're like 20, 21, 19. And I'm like, dude, when I was your age, all there was Starbucks. And I had to work at a Starbucks.
Big facts.
And now you have all these places you can work and learn. Like when I was at Blvd, I worked with a guy named Daniel. Shout out to Daniel. He was the assistant manager and he was like 21.
Damn.
and it was his first job. And I was like, "What do you mean?" And I did his first cupping was with me.
Damn.
At my friend's house, and he was like, "I've never done a cupping. You never did a cupping in Blue?" He's like, "No," and I'm like, "I got you."
Yeah, let's do this.
And I was like, dude, I would always tell him, like, I think in my head, I'm like, "You're so lucky that you got this position." I'm like, "No, you're not lucky. Like, fuck that. You earned it for who you are." And I think it's just so cool, like, that there's these opportunities now for younger people to get into the coffee scene, cause it's a career. But when we started, it wasn't viewed as a career. It was more like, "Oh, you work at a coffee shop. You roast coffee." Like, and now it's like, "No, I'm working as a barista, but I want to be a Q grader, or I want to be a roaster, or I want to do production, or I just want to be a barista the rest of my life." And that's fine. You can compete. You can make YouTube. You can do everything.
Yeah, you really can.
There's no limit. Like, once you realize, and I learned this when I quit my job at Blue Bottle, that since I didn't have a schedule, I felt like I unlocked a capacity that I can operate at beyond I can ever imagine. Like, I was like, I can do so much now. Like, everything's tangible. Like, I just have to work for it.
It's how bad do you want it, bro?
Exactly.
That's
and
what it is.
It's insane. And like, but yeah, dude, kudos to everything you've done. It's amazing.
Hey,
like,
no, kudos to you, bro. You're
thank
fucking.
you.
This is your podcast.
Thank you.
No, bro, like you're on the come up, and like, bro, I'm barely a year into this, for the brick and mortar, but 3 years in for the roasting business, and like, I love. Like, I shouted out Tyler before we were talking, and it's like,
Tyler's awesome.
I remember having Tyler on the podcast when I was just a roaster, not a business owner. And I remember him telling me, like, if there's anybody who can do it, Kano, you can do it because you hustle so hard.
Mm-hmm.
It's been very trying and very testing, and you will be tested, bro. Like, everything starts off, but eventually things die.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mean it in a negative way, but I mean die down.
Yeah, it's normal.
It's normal, and the hype is real, and then it'll eventually slow down. It's when things start to slow down, how are you going to build that hype back up and get it back going? And it's like, bro, I love this hype that you're building up. You're at the start of it right now. I just wish you nothing but the best, bro.
Thank you, man.
I
appreciate it.
Another reason why I wanted to have you on.
Thank
it's like,
you.
This is just, Godspeed, G. Like,
Thank you,
it's
man.
going to be a hard road. It's going to be a trying road, a testing road, but a very useful and learning road. And I wish you nothing but the best. And I want to see you win.
Thank you.
And, bro, like, having you on here is just gonna highlight that. And I
appreciate it.
I want nothing but the best. And like, bro, I will come and see you. Like, I don't know.
I'm gonna be coming back here, that.
Oh, bro, yeah. But like, I want to come and support you, and like fuck yeah, you know, like, another one is doing it, and another one who's like living it and doing it, and I know your story, and I feel the passion, and it's like, dude, yes.
Thank you, man. It's been a ride, like, from the sourcing trip we did. From now, it's been. I feel bad I didn't tell you about the sourcing day. We went on vacation to Oaxaca. We had a producer there that we were buying coffee from, and my wife was like, "Why don't we go visit your farmer that you have?" And I'm like, "I don't know." I was being like, "I don't think so." And like, she's like, "Let's do it. Like, send him a message." And I send him a message. I'm like, "Hey, we're gonna be in Oaxaca. Like, can we come by?" She's like, "Yeah. Here's my address. This is how you meet me at my house, and then we'll go to the farms." And I was like, cool. I rented a Dodge. No, it was a Volkswagen. It was the thing under a Jetta. Like the lower grade Volkswagen.
Like a fucking Golf?
No, it was worse than a Golf.
It was worse than a Golf?
Yeah.
Oof.
It was bad. It was like if a 1991 Corolla and a Volkswagen Jetta had a baby. It looked like that.
Okay.
I rented one of those. So it was like, $30 a day. Hell yeah, let's do it. And then when I was looking at it, I'm like, I should have got the Jeep. Like, I was looking at it. Like, Jeep was only $20 more. And we took that to the farms. We took that, the brakes burned. We stayed at, like, it was that we had no cell service. Like, it was
sketch.
My wife and I went by ourselves to this town, Tilaxiaco.
Okay.
TXIACLO, I think. And we went to the farmer's town, and we went to her house. They were milling coffee. She had this guy, Barnaby was his name.
Barnaby?
This guy was a G. He was sorting coffee defects like super fast. Like he was just like switching through the coffee defects, and I was like, oh my god. I was like, what is he doing? He had his headphones. I was in the zone. He's like, oh, he's sorting the defects. He sorts all the defects by hand. And I was like, all the coffee's defects are sourced by hand. Yep.
Easy.
And I was like, that explains everything. Like,
Yeah.
And then we went to her roastery. They had a Cien Mex roaster. I don't know if you've ever seen those super dope roasters from Veracruz too. And they had a little one, and I got to roast with her on the little one. And then she showed me the big one. She's like, next time you come, we'll roast on the big one. And she told me, she's like, if I didn't know how comfortable you guys were with me, you could have just stayed with me the whole time. Like in her house. Like, it was amazing. Like, do you want some food? I'm like, no, we're okay. Do you want water, whatever you want? And like, it's an amazing experience. They had the Miller in there in like the same garage. They had costales like stacked up, and it's like, okay, like we'll go back to your hotel tomorrow. Like, well, I'll meet you at your hotel, and we'll go to the farms early. They're like at 4 a.m. I'm like, cool, we'll be awake.
Fuck yeah.
Woke up at 4 a.m. We got to the farms at like 7 or 8. And like right when we got to like the bottom of the hill, because we had to go 2,100 meters above sea level, and then we had to go down like 200 meters into like the pueblo, where the town was. But all the coffee was growing super high. Yeah. And when we got to the pueblo, like when we got to the base of the mountain, our brakes were like already like smoking, just from all the brakes from going down the hills. And we had to stop in like a little town, and like this lady like making tacos like in her house, and we asked if we could use her bathroom. She's like, yeah, go ahead. Like, but everyone in the area we were at, they didn't speak Spanish. They spoke Mixteca. So everyone was speaking like the normal dialect that was down there. And because we were that deep, and like cell surf was like less than 1 bar. Like it was like no man's land, right? Anything could happen. And we had a taco with the lady, and then we went to the bathroom, and then we went back up. We started going up the mountain, and like halfway up, the car wouldn't move because it was 5 of us in the car. And we're like, our producer was like, you guys, we have to get out. Like,
we have to walk.
Gerardo, like, you're gonna have to drive, and we're gonna have to walk. And I felt bad because it was all ladies, and I was like, come on, like, can you guys drive and I'll walk? Like, I don't mind. Yeah. And so I drove up the hill, and then I remember I stopped and I started walking up, and there's this guy with a machete, and he was like, ¿Dónde van? And I'm like, Cafetales. And he was like, okay. I was like, this isn't I was like a super big machete. Like, where are you going, bro? And I'm like, I'm going to a coffee farm.
Yeah, it's like,
I was like, because I was the only my wife and I were the only light skinned people there, and I had like a short sleeve shirt, so all my tattoos were showing.
Yeah, so he knows you're not from there.
They were like, oh, what the hell is this guy doing here? Like, how did he get here? How does he know where we are? And so we got to the farms, and we went to our producer's sister's farm, and they're not big farms; they're called lomas. And they were all taped up, like boarded up with tarp, because people would rob the farms and take the plants out.
Oh shit!
Yeah, it was that serious. And we went, and she's like, "Yeah, I had geishas, but I had to mix them with the Arabica, like the regular Arabicas." I was like, "Really?" She's like, "Yeah, these are geishas. These 4 Arabica. This one's a geisha."
Whoa!
I remember that day I did shed a little bit of tears because I saw the plants for the first time.
Sick.
And they're like, this natural coffee, we get 60 kilos. We get 20 kilos a day.
20 kilos a day?
A day from a natural, because they pick it based on the maturity of the cherry. So a certain shade of red, they pick it. And between her and her 2 daughters, they do everything.
It's a family business.
It's family business. Yeah. Damn. And our producer's dad was an agronomer.
Wow. So
they know everything about the soil and everything and how to grow everything better. Our producer actually got ripped off by Red Fox. So this could be off the record, but
yeah. I mean,
Red Fox like didn't pay them the right price for everything, or owed them money. And
wow.
Yeah, it was bad. I learned a lot about Q graders and exporters on that trip. That a lot of Mexican coffee's graded really low, so then the exporters can buy it cheaper and sell it a little more here. So you get, if you buy a coffee that's 83, it's probably like an 87. From Mexico specifically. Okay. Like my Oaxacan coffee, there can be 90s, absolutely, like 100%.
Like that 90 plus type shit.
Yeah, like Ethiopian type shit. Like
yeah.
But they can't.
Dude, a lot of the coffees from Mexico are like fucking, dude, Mexico's on the come up right now.
They're phenomenal, and they're getting more expensive too. Yeah, especially the naturals.
Well, then the fermentation processes too.
Oh yeah, it's insane.
The fermentation processes are like they're upping their game.
Yeah,
tough.
The one we get, the natural I was telling you about, the 20 kilos a day. After it's depulped, you're getting like 15 kilos of green, and then when you roast it, you're getting like 10.
Even less. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because of water loss.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they dry it at her house. She dries it at her house, and then every night she has to bring it back in because people are gonna steal it.
Stop it.
Yeah. So they take care of it a lot, like the coffees they have.
Do they have raised air beds?
Yeah, they have raised air beds, like sun beds,
Mm-hmm.
and then but it's small. It's like literally in their patio. They dry it, they bring it back in, and they dry it again.
Whoa.
It's insane. They do like crazy fermentations, like they're wild.
I love this game.
It's a cool. It made me appreciate what I do a lot more. And the coffees, like if I mess up a roast, especially that coffee, I'm like, oh, shit.
Like,
I feel bad.
You feel bad, but it's like, fuck it, we're still gonna run it because it's
Exactly,
like,
like, I have to
I
cold
have
brew
to.
it or
Yeah, it's
something,
like,
yeah.
fuck it, we're gonna run
Yeah.
it. Yeah,
Exactly. That's how it is. You know how it is.
oh, dude, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah,
Fucking
that was the whole like origin thing, and like, but yeah, dude, I appreciate you having me on here, man. Like, I'm excited for the shop, and like, for everybody listening, we're hoping we open by the summertime.
Okay.
Bread and Salt San Diego. Shout out to Jim and Isabel, the owners, and Tom, the curator, and our friend Jerry and his team at Casa 129 for helping us get everything going. And special shout out to my wife, got him for all the support and motivation. And shout out to Kano.
Kano. Yeah, it's
Kano.
all good.
Kano. Sorry. You can edit that if you
Like Chicano, Americano.
Chicano.
Yeah, there you go.
want. Kano. Yeah. Shout out to Kano.
Thank you. Dude, well, tell the people also, too, where they can find you on Instagram.
Oh, yeah. You can follow us on Instagram at Provecho Coffee. And our website's www.provechocoffee.com. On our website, you can find a list of our pop-ups that we're going to do, or just follow us on Instagram. We do pop-up events probably every once to 2 times a week, or once every 2 weeks, or once every week. And then buy a bag of coffee online and try our coffee from Oaxaca, our origin coffee.
Boom.
Yeah. But yeah, cold brew, we deliver cold brew too. So yeah.
Dude, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, Gerardo,
Thank you so much, man.
Dude, we almost did 3 hours.
Oh my God.
Dude, yeah, we're like
That's
fucking
insane.
there. That's like, this has probably been one of the longest podcasts I've done in a really long time.
That's insane. Thank you so much, man.
Dude.
I appreciate you sharing a lot of your story with me, and it's been inspiring. And especially when you told me like how you switched from a regular, like a career to coffee, like
Dude, yeah.
that's huge.
Thank
That's
you.
inspiring to me because I almost like left completely to do something different.
Dude, way early in the conversation, you said something about like you felt like no matter what you do, coffee keeps calling you back.
It's a
And, like,
universe.
dude, for me, I really do feel like this is what I'm supposed to be doing with my life.
Yep.
No matter what, this coffee has been the constant in my life, and it brings the most joy to me. It's also brought the most stress to me. But at the end of the day, when I have that cup of coffee and I see how many people drink it, and then like they tell me like this is the best coffee, or like it just brings them happiness, or even just like sitting there like having a cup myself, it's like, fuck yeah, dude.
Dude,
Like,
it's
this
the
is
best.
it. This
It's
is
the
it.
best feeling when you see that smile on their face. It's
I fucking love it, bro.
Yeah.
Every day
It's
of
the
my
best.
life, like I have to remember why I'm doing this sometimes, because again, it's all the things that are not coffee related that make me not want to do this sometimes.
that's okay though.
But exactly.
You need to know those things. They're tools. My boss at Blvd told me, he's like, coffee's a tool for me now that I'm a manager.
Boom.
I was like, damn. He's like, yeah, I use coffee as a tool to get to where I need to go and where I need to be in my life. And I'm like, damn. Shout out to Gabriel Rhodes.
Well, we'll leave
Super
it right
inspiring,
there.
Yeah.
It's a tool,
Yeah,
baby.
it's
Let's
coffee's
go.
a tool. Use it. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Dude,
Thank
Gerardo.
you so much, man. Sorry we
Gracias.
went really
No,
long
dude,
time.
I fucking love it. I love it. Thank you.
I appreciate it, brother.
Peace.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Gerardo. That was an amazing conversation. Mil gracias, amigo. Te aprecio. And guys, I just want to say thank you to everyone around the world who continues to support Caffeine and Green week in and week out. You know, the newest country that's been listening is Chile. A lot of people in Chile. Yo, shout out to Chile. What's poppin'? Australia, Mexico. I mean, Mexico's been fucking with us pretty tough. I love it. Canada, I see you. Uruguay. There's a country in Africa that's been messing with us. Damn. I love it. Guys, keep spreading the word. I really appreciate all of you around the world who keep supporting Caffeine and Green. And hey, everybody who's local, regional, San Diego, Tijuana, whatever, if you're pulling up to the shop, thank you guys. I really appreciate it. And everybody in Tecate, I see you. Yo, guys, stay tuned. We have some amazing guests. Peace!